Welcome in, everybody. You're probably not here yet, but the people that watch it after, we welcome them as soon as they watch the video or turn it on or whatever. We're glad you're with us. It's a Friday night show. We are living life, and sometimes life has its ups and downs, kind of like roller coaster style. And I am guilty of riding the coaster. Sometimes that's how it goes, man. But we gotta continue to do our show because it's one of the things that brings mom joy. Mom and dad are always here. They always watch. And even if they're our only two viewers, we still would have to do it. Hey, speaking of mom, Ben. So first off, we just want to, before we get into the show, want to say thanks to everybody that participated in the Hafeman Brothers Fantasy Football Draft. And so that was this week. And we got some people in there, including Rick, who returned to fantasy for the first time in, I think, like a decade.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, I think.
And what happened already? He sent out a message like before the season even started.
I didn't see it. I haven't had time to look at it.
He's like, well, what do you know? Fantasy football is like my first string running back. It looks like he has a season-ending injury before the first game, and we drafted on Wednesday. It's like the guy got hurt in practice, and he's like, same old with fantasy for me. Let's go have a good year. So poor Rick.
Oh, Rick. Hey, Rick, if you're listening, I've got a whole lot of running backs, but I need to start some receivers. So I'm up for a trade. Trade me a pretty decent receiver because I know you drafted 4 receivers right off the bat. Boom, 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 boom.
That's right.
Offer me one of those receivers, and I've got some. I might trade you Ezekiel Elliott. I thought he was going to be good.
Nope.
Apparently, Mike McCarthy does not want to run the ball.
McCarthy loves. Can I just party on that? I kept Dak. I got Dak Prescott in the league, and he threw 55 times last night. Or come on.
I don't know what was going on. I'll tell you this much: you should put a stat in there for running backs for picking up the blitz, because if you did that, give me a point for picking up the blitz every time. Ezekiel Elliott picked up 27 blitzes last night. He was awesome at picking up the blitz, but apparently they don't want to run him or throw him the ball. I thought he'd be used more in the passing game. Freaking Pollard was out there all the gosh dang time. I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Ezekiel Elliott is supposed to be a top-notch, super expensive running back. You're paying him all this money to pick up the blitz?
Pick up the blitz?
Are you kidding me?
That's what McCarthy running backs need to do. Pick up the blitz, bro.
Freaking stupid. And then here's the other thing that doesn't make any sense. When McCarthy was with the Packers and he had Aaron Jones didn't see half as much time as Pollard saw last night as the backup running back. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And one more thing, real quick.
Go ahead.
CD Lamb was a number 1 pick in the first round. And they have a guy on their practice squad who catches everything, who they still won't put on the active roster. Aaron Parker is a better receiver than CD Lamb. I don't care what you say. That guy had 3 drops last night in week 1. They said he had 9 drops last season. I think they probably fudged it.
He probably had 20.
And he said that was the 4th worst in the league with 9 drops last year. How does a guy have 9 drops last year, have 3 drops last night? And one of them led to an interception because the alligator armed it. Now, that was kind of a Brett Favre pass in the middle of 27 defenders, but it was a perfect pass.
I know when I first saw it, I was like, what a dumb play by Dak. And then he threw it, and I was like, no, there was an opening there. That was actually pretty good.
So, anyways.
Well, CD Lamb had 15 targets last night. That's bonkers. But yeah, I wish he could catch the ball. Jeez Louise.
I'm just saying, I thought there was a drop penalty, but I guess that's only in Hafeman Brothers fantasy football that you have a drop penalty, huh? Or what is it?
Didn't I?
I thought you had a drop penalty.
I don't know if they let me. I don't know if they let me have that anymore, or maybe I don't know if they let me have it. Plus, you and I both know, and everybody that watches football knows. Rick is on. Rick says, yeah, it's been at least 10 years. He's like, he'll take a look at his roster and see what he can come up with. But you and I both know, and everybody that watches football knows, that they do not count nearly as many drops as they should. They give the receivers way too much leeway. There's a bunch of ones they just consider incomplete, and I would consider drops. Yeah. If the dude gets his hands on it, catch the freaking ball. I don't care.
Well, especially if you're a first-round pick, number 15 or whatever he was overall last season.
Yeah.
You can't be dropping balls like that.
He
looks so skinny. That guy is a skinny dude, man.
it's kind of weird. I mean, he has some ability to run after the catch. He got some moves, but he's not like overly elusive. He's not overly fast. I'm
I'm telling you, Aaron
not in love
Parker
with
is a
him.
better player. Aaron Parker is a better player, and he wasn't even drafted last year. And he's been stuck on the Cowboys practice squad for 2 seasons. And this guy who has 3 drops in the opening game of the year, and they lose, by the way, by 3 points,
Yep.
or 2 points. Of course, their kicker missed a free field goal and an extra point, which probably didn't help. But
They got
still,
a little benefit of the calls too on that
there's
last
a
drive for
third down play where CD Lamb hit him right in the hands. Like it was third down. He would have had the first down. It was like he turned around, the ball hit him right in the hands, just fell right to the ground. And right before that, he had another. It wasn't a drop. The guy broke it up, but it was still like he could. I mean, fight through it and catch it, dude.
Hey, we're just talking off the top. Football started last night. If you weren't aware, Mom says her receiver was good. Amari Cooper.
Cooper is good.
And Bernard's in the house. Hey, Bernard, how you doing? He talks about. He says guys bring up that no call in the Saints versus Rams. Oh, pass interference, but they don't bring up the Drew Brees through a pick in overtime. Oh yeah, gets overshadowed. A lot of those plays. That's how it happens sometimes. You remember the one thing and then you forget the other stuff. But
that's the same with everything, Bernard. I mean, no matter what you do, they're always going to be. They're going to point out the travesty over because. Well, here's the thing, Bernard. If they wouldn't have called that, it would never went to overtime, and that's why. You know what I mean? But still, Drew Brees did have the opportunity to try to make a play, and he didn't. And he threw a pick in overtime.
Now,
but it's like, the people that have more upset is Packer fans. You know, like what about the game against Arizona in overtime, where Aaron Rodgers got his face mask ripped off, and it was a fumble, but should have been a penalty, but because he was a second-year starter, he didn't get the call. And then the Packers lose the game in overtime when it should have been first of all, should have been roughing the passer, number one, but also face mask, which shouldn't have been a fumble. But we got screwed. Packers got screwed.
And they showed that replay like 8 times, and they showed still pictures, and his helmet is like yanked down over his eyes because the guy's got his face. He only had like 1 or 2 fingers in the face mask, but he had it in there and pulled it down. That's a face mask. That's a penalty. Play should never happen. And that 2009 Packers team was a dangerous team.
Yeah.
They made, they still had Chucky Woodson at the peak of his powers. They made some, turnover plays on defense. They weren't great defensively, but they had got turnovers, and their offense was high powered and awesome. So they could have made some noise in 2009. That call gets made the way it should. But that's the hard part about the NFL, right? There's so many games are so close, so many things happen. And so that's why when these certain calls are made or certain plays go one way or another, those are the things that get focused on after the game. And you can, in sports, you're always taught, you're like, oh, well, you can't worry about those things. And we just focus on what we can control. And, we still had an opportunity to do this, or we could have done that better. And that's what you're supposed to do. But as fans, we don't have to do that because we can remember the crap, and those plays can be a huge difference in a game, like one thing here or there, or one call here or there. Dak was awesome. I was super impressed and glad that I have him at least in one fantasy league. I could have kept him I could have had him in 2, but I traded him away that one. Now it's kind of dumb. You're lucky.
Yeah, pretty dumb.
Mo's coming on tonight.
Yeah, if he ever gets on.
He'll get on. Hey, I got Black is Beautiful tonight. Just going to say Black is Beautiful from Delta Beer Lab. And this one goes $1 from each one of these goes to benefit a local charity fighting for social justice. So that's pretty awesome. Makes you feel a little bit better when you drink a beer when that's the case. It's a black IPA, by the way.
Well, all this talk also brings up last night's play where, there's the push off right before the catch, and then getting out of bounds. Because people, and people are always say that they blame Tom Brady for that. Tom Brady had nothing to do with that push off. But every time somebody talks about how he got a call, they're like, "Oh, Tom Brady, you're lucky you got the push." No, Godwin pushed off, and by pushing off, the other thing is even if he was able to catch it and then get out of bounds, because if he would have caught it and got tackled in bounds, game's over. They had no more timeouts. No, maybe not, but still, it would have slowed it down. They would have been able to Well, they would have kicked the field goal probably. But they would have had to snap it and do the thing, and I don't know. But it was.
I want to say
things. The officials are. It's a tough job, but I know from watching Lions games over the years, the Lions get screwed all the time. So you got to know there's something up. Yes. And as Packer fans, we get the calls quite often, more than we should, to be quite honest, because we have Aaron Rodgers and he sometimes will let us get some calls. So, whatever. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just want to say this about some of those games. So, like, I had my phone. I was texting you and Nick McCarthy Magic, right? I was typing it up right as the Cowboys, kicked that last field goal through. I believed in it. McCarthy Magic was on display again last night. And then McCarthy found a way to, lose it again. But that's the same kid, that cornerback who got pushed off on that one. That's the same kid that was a rookie in 17 that they threw the crazy pass over the top to Devontae Adams to the Packers came back to win that game in Dallas in that last second drive too. Same kid. Poor guy. Same corner, man. Jordan Lewis, right? I think his name is.
I have no idea.
Oh,
all I know is this.
Football's
For some
crazy.
reason, Tampa Bay goes 3 deep in safety where they have guys coming in and making plays. And the Packers haven't had a good safety in years. Okay, Agent Amos is okay. And Savage is getting there. Yeah. But I mean, they brought in like their third safety and he's like making tackles in the backfield. He got like breaking up passes, getting in picks and stuff and stopping them on 4th down. And I'm like, how did the freaking Tampa Bay have this third string safety comes in and he's like a 4th-year player or something, right? Or 6-year player he was. He's just some guy. And he's down there making plays. And the Packers have nobody whatever. The game's over. Tampa Bay won.
Yeah. It's weird though. It makes you think like for the casual. This is one thing I thought about with because I watched the second half of the game. And what I thought most of it was, and then with the way it ended, I was like, so for the casual fan, really what that game showed them is like, just tune in for the last couple minutes and you're good. Because a bunch of stuff is going to happen. So if you really like watching football, like you want to see all the stuff that happens and this and that, whatever. But so many of these games are coming down to the last, who's got the ball last minute or two of the game. And that's where it's decided because they're usually pretty close. So for the cash fan, they can efficiently watch football by just turning it on for like the last couple of minutes and they're good to go.
Well, that's not the way the Super Bowl was.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay beat the crap out of the, Chiefs offensive line. So, I mean, that was over right away. Well, not over right away, but like by halfway through the third quarter, it was done. I mean, there's nothing that the Chiefs could do. But whatever. We're talking. This is a Packers show. What are we talking about? All these other dumb things for?
Whatever. Because it was football last night. It's back, and we got Viking Mo coming on here in a little bit. He said he'd be a little late.
So we say.
But we do have to. We can talk about something that just happened, Ben, which is the Packers captains.
Okay.
Packers captains. Now, some teams, like I was reading on the Steelers, last year they had 2 captains on defense, co-captains on offense. This year they only had 1 captain. So TJ Watt was not a captain this year. It was just like Hayward or something. And then Roethlisberger was the only captain on offense. The Packers had 3 captains on offense, 3 captains on defense, and 1 captain on special teams.
Yeah.
So, in the chat, if you haven't seen who the captains are, who do you think the 3 captains on defense are? Who do you think the captains are? 3 on defense, 3 on offense, 1 on special teams. You got 30 seconds. Go. It's interesting. Now, Matt LaFleur said, you've probably seen the video. A lot of you have, but some people might not have. Matt LaFleur said they had 25 guys get votes for captain. Now, Ben, what does that say to you? Because he was saying that, that's such a good thing. So we have so many leaders and blah, blah, blah. Is that a good thing? Or is that like, hey, we don't really know who our strongest leaders are? What does that say to you?
It's the thing I've been saying for years. I think it's clear who the offensive leaders are. That's not a surprise. But I think it's the defense. They don't have a vocal leader who's able to perform on the field, because when you're a leader, I've been working for years and years and years as a manager and a guy who runs things. And even before that, when I was in college, I was an octet leader. I was a leader of statesmen. I was leader of singing Innocent Men, where I had to, arrange music and teach it this stuff and whatever. And when you're the leader, number one, you have to be accountable for yourself. Like if you aren't producing, no one's going to follow you. Like you have to be good, right? Number one. Number two, you have to be honest with everybody. So if you're like a guy who's not always there doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then you're telling somebody else that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they'll be like, what are you doing? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So whatever. And then the other thing is, the key thing is you want to be there and support your teammates, right? And be like, hey, we can do this, guys. Let's get going. You got to be like a rah-rah. You don't have to be rah-rah, but you got to be some sort of a personality guy who's able to bridge more than just one area. And I think on defense, the Packers have not had that since Mike Daniels.
I was going to say him. He was a captain too.
Yeah, they just don't have a guy who's able to, be the leader, perform on the field, be vocal, and take over the team. And I mean, yeah, they had, they have guys on offense, and even the guys on offense aren't really that. The guys they voted for are, they're great players, and but they're not really very vocal, right? But they're respected. And the thing on the defensive end is they don't really have anybody who's like an established enough to be like a superstar, but then also able to bring the team together and be like the man. And that's really scary. And it's been scary for the last couple of years. And that's why they failed in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. And that's why last season the defense was a little rough, because I think some guys were looking sideways out of their eyes at the guy who they voted for captain last year. And it proves this year that they were looking sideways, because it's all the same guys back this year. And they didn't vote the same. So what does that tell you?
But you're right about the defense. That's one of the reasons they got a new coach, because they need that leadership and energy and, encouragement or whatever motivation stuff extra from him. That's let's be honest. Mike Pettin was, I think he's still thinking he's a good coach, but he was very, flat. Right. So this Joe Barry is an energy guy. And I think that's what Matt LaFleur was going for, realizing, and give Matt LaFleur some credit. Okay. I think he understands some of the things that were lacking. And I don't know if Joe Barry's a better defensive coordinator than Mike Pettin, but he's a different personality, and maybe that will help this defense perform better. We hope. So Mo's coming in. Hey, Mo, we're just talking here. We can ask Mo. So he might.
Yeah, we'll ask Mo. He has no idea.
All right, Mo, get ready. The Packers named you jump in at the right time. Most people that are in the chat know, I think, who the Packers captains are. They announced their captains today. Do you know who they are?
Oh, that's exciting. No, I don't. I don't. Should I guess?
No, we're going to ask you to tell us who they are. Okay. So
yeah, you're supposed to guess.
Three.
Yes. I don't know why you said
guess,
no.
but we're going to give them.
He's like, no, don't guess. We want you to guess. Yeah.
We're going to give them a little bit of information at least first. Okay. So there's one special teams, which isn't hard because the Packers cut their punter and they don't like their long snapper.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
So there's one special teams, 3 offensive captains, and 3 defensive captains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you name them, Eric? This is your first test. Since you're late, you get put on the spot right away.
Yeah, I apologize. It's a little family thing. My apologies.
It's fine. You're okay.
That's all right. You got a family. What do you?
Yeah.
I don't have one anymore. Just kidding. I lost my son.
I know Ben's pretty. Yeah. That's sad.
That is sad.
He's up doing who
he's
knows
still
what.
there, though. I know.
I don't know what he's doing.
Well,
party in there. I don't know.
Just think about what you did when you were in college.
Nothing. I didn't do anything the first year. I sat in my dorm room like a dork.
Well, maybe that's all he's doing then.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I'll say Mason Crosby.
Yep.
Look at that. Okay. I'll say Aaron Rodgers on offense.
Yep.
Okay.
Stay with the offense. Who are the other 2 offensive guys?
Can it be Bakhtiari even though he's hurt?
It could be, but he didn't make it for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Even though he was a captain last year. So that's kind of weird.
Okay.
One of them is a new captain.
Oh, no, he wasn't captain. He wasn't captain last year. Lindsey was captain last year.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and Corey Lindsey last year.
One of them has never, I don't think one of these guys has ever been captain before.
I don't think either of them have.
Really?
Did they do Aaron Jones?
They should have.
No.
Because he was, by the way, now are we going to get me started? Who was the one guy? After mandatory minicamp, the Packers had a voluntary OTA. They said, hey, veterans, you don't have to come. It'd be nice if you came, but you don't have to. And it was the last OTA before the summer break in July.
Okay.
There was one veteran player who was not new to the team who showed up. One guy. And you know who it was?
Aaron Jones.
That guy. Right there. This guy. That's the captain of the freaking team. This is the real captain. The real Aaron of the Packers. But did he get a vote? He probably got like one vote.
He probably got. See, he probably got some
AJ
votes.
Dillon and Kylan Hill probably voted for him, and that was it. But he should have got more because he is the real captain. Is he a smart guy? No. Is he a nice guy? Hell yeah. And is he a great emotional leader? Freaking yeah, he is. And is he there for his dudes? You bet your buddy is. Some guys, they took the whole offseason off, but they got voted captain.
Oh, hey.
This guy don't. This guy shows up when he doesn't even have to. And they asked him, hey, Aaron, why are you here? Like, no other guys are here. And he's like, I'm here for my guys. I feel like I got to be here for my guys. Even though, what happened? He just got a big payday. He could just kind of goof off now. He already got his money.
Yep,
He still shows up for the team. Unlike Devontae and Aaron Rodgers, who don't show up for the team. Hey, Devontae Adams, he didn't even show up for me on the mandatory minicamp.
All right.
Did he? He did not.
He's,
So,
he's pretty salty about his.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's who should have been
Well,
number one captain
I'm
of the
salty.
team.
I'm
Aaron
sorry
Jones.
that I guessed Aaron Jones.
So Aaron Jones is not correct.
Okay. I feel led to guess that Devontae Adams was made captain.
Yeah, I gave it to you. God dang it. But whatever. I'm so mad I can't help it.
And I think that was the first time ever for him.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I'm going to.
Okay.
What does that tell you about this team? Two of the captains are guys that weren't even there all freaking off season.
And that posted like the Last Dance things, right?
I mean, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's the captains of the team? That makes me scared. That makes me, as a Packer fan, I'm concerned. I am concerned.
Hold on.
Okay,
All right,
well,
Mo.
who's
One
the
more.
best offensive
One more.
captain?
One more.
I can give you a hint. If he wasn't on the team, it wouldn't even matter because he's not even that good.
I'm not wearing his jersey tonight, but I should be.
No, he's leaving.
Actually, LP probably should have been captain.
He was captain in the last or one of the preseason games.
I feel like it's one of the offensive linemen.
Sort of. That's what everybody says. Everybody says he's
no.
like another offensive lineman out there.
Okay,
But he's actually not an offensive lineman.
Was it Tunyon?
No.
Same position.
Same position.
Different player.
Who's that old guy that got it?
That's right. The old useless guy doesn't do anything. Is the freaking captain. And he's also Aaron Rodgers' good buddy. So you got Aaron Rodgers, his good buddy, who those two guys who didn't show up all offseason to do anything. And then their other good buddy, who's a veteran who gets veteran day off of practice. He gets at least 1 or 2 days of practice off all week, every week. And you know why? Because they don't need him. Like, why is he even there? I don't know. Like, he's taking snaps away from Robert Tunyon.
He's really old.
To be honest.
He's really old. Yeah.
Hey, you okay? All right.
I'm really mad today. I
didn't realize.
I'm just really mad about this. Aaron Jones is the captain of the offense, not freaking Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and all these other freaking yahoos. No. A guy who shows up for his teammates. That's what a captain is. Not a guy who I might be there, I might not be there. I don't know. I kind of feel like I might retire. I'm here. What? That ain't no captain.
This is a stark difference from Ben last week, who was talking about how I want to really enjoy the season and it's gonna be positive and I'm gonna be in all these things. Anyway, he's kind of fired up tonight. Okay. I didn't realize we were gonna have to take a halftime break between the offensive guys and the defensive guys, but hold on one second. Let me catch up with Bernard. He's trying to talk about stuff. He's worried we might lose on Sunday. He's wondering if the offseason might mess up the Packers because they didn't play anybody the whole preseason and all that.
Yeah.
And other things. And
100%.
I mean,
Bernard.
look, Bernard, anytime the team takes the field, they could lose or they could win, but I think they'll be fine.
Oh, thank you, Captain Obvious. What the hell?
I have to say those things because
That's
Nick
like,
loves
hey
it.
Mo,
Nick
you don't have
loves
to
it
guess,
when
but you have to guess.
Nick loves it when broadcasters or people who are talking to microphones say obvious things. So I have to do that for him. And then he says, Mo, Vikings suck, but then he says, still love you, Mo.
Well, thanks.
All
I
right.
appreciate that. I think.
Mo, we'll get to your Vikings, and I have an interesting question for you
Okay.
tonight and for
Okay.
Ben. But can you name three? Can you name three Packers on the defensive side of the ball?
Of course, sure.
Okay. Then go ahead and try to guess who the captains are.
Okay. They probably I'm guessing Ben doesn't look happy still, so I'm gonna guess they did Zadarius Smith. Did they do Zadarius Smith? Is that
Ben? Did
What?
Robert Woods block Zadarius Smith last year
No.
by himself?
Zadarius Smith blocked Zadarius Smith on that play.
yeah?
No, he's not a captain, Mo.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're getting at.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to get into it just yet. We'll get into
Okay.
that at the end. So you keep guessing, and then we'll tell you why Zadarius Smith is not a captain. But okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's right. You can't name a single Packer who is
Sure.
a veteran of some sort who has incredible play on the field as well as a leadership capability to rally the troops. There isn't a guy.
Well, they still
The
got Kenny
Packers
Clark.
don't have that guy.
They still
on
got Kenny
defense.
Clark, right?
Kenny Clark is one,
Okay. He's hurt all the time. It doesn't say anything.
but he is a player that they have on defense, so he's a captain.
So you're right. He is a captain. He isn't a player on defense. Yes.
Okay. And then don't you guys have that Amos safety? Isn't it who you guys
Yeah,
have?
he's
Yeah.
a guy.
Is he a safety?
He doesn't say jack squat. And
Is he a captain?
he's a captain.
He's a
Yeah,
captain,
I figured.
surprisingly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they don't have much to choose from, right? So I think it's I mean, just from a captain's perspective, to Ben's point,
It's
is all
very-
I'm saying.
Very true.
And he's a veteran, and so is Kenny Clark. So and then do they have to pick a linebacker then to make it like equitable? Is that what they do these days? I don't know. You guys had a lot of turnover at linebacker, right? I don't even know if I know who's a linebacker anymore for you guys, to be honest.
We
with
only
you.
had one guy who's
They-
different at linebacker. Everybody
they
else
don't-
is the same.
They don't make them any plays.
Every
most
single
of
other
them.
guy is exactly the same, Mo.
Well, they make it. They do the corner. They do
Can't think of
cornerback?
him.
Which one are you referring to?
Kevin
Oh,
King.
No, the only good one you got. Why can't I think?
Yeah,
of it?
Jair Alexander. Yes.
Jair,
They
thank
named
you.
Jair Alexander.
I
The
kept on wanting to say
craziest-
Tremont Williams. I don't know why.
The craziest, weirdest, goofiest guy on the team was named captain. And that's the only one I think they got right because his play on the field actually matches maybe being a captain.
Well, he's really good, but
Right. But is he a rally the troops guy?
He says in
I mean,
his he had a press conference and he says he's always been a leader. So there you go.
sorry, I blanked on his name.
Mo, that was a good point though. Tremont Williams was captain a bunch of times because he was awesome.
Oh, Bernard's got to leave. He's saying I got to stop yelling so much. And he
Oh.
said Packers are going to win 28-20.
Hey, good prediction, Bernard.
Good prediction,
Like that.
Bernard. Have a good night. Enjoy the game on Sunday. We'll catch you later. Here's my thing.
All right, Ben.
This is the thing. Mo.
What does this say to you? What does this say to you?
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Did I say this in the pregame
Well, let's
show?
see.
Or
Mo, what does that say to you?
live?
What
does that
let's
say
ask
to you,
Mo.
Mo?
What does it
Last
say
year,
to you?
Zadarius
Zadarius?
Smith was a captain on this team.
Mhm.
This year, and they only had two defensive captains. I think it was Christian Kirksey and him last year. I could be wrong.
What? Those are
Maybe it's
terrible
maybe it's an
captains.
Agent Amos and Zadarius. I can't remember. But anyways, maybe it's Kenny Clark and I don't know. Whatever. What does it say to you that now there's three captains, and not a single one of them is Zadarius Smith, who's apparently the best defensive player in the Packers defense, and the most rah-rah guy? Like, who's the guy you see after when he makes a play and he's all going crazy and doing stuff, right? Like he's the guy, right? But he's not a captain on the team. What does that mean, Mo? What does that mean?
I don't know if I'd read into it that much. I think teams change captains every year, right? They don't necessarily have the same guys. I think it speaks to you when you have, like, say, your quarterback is not the captain on the team, which has happened to Kirk Cousins. Like, what does that say? That says kind of quite a bit more than I think, your edge rusher, perhaps, But I mean, to your point, if they're supposed to be the lifeblood of the defense, they should be a captain, right? I mean, I think, not that I'm a huge fan of the guy, but I think someone like Ray Lewis, pretty sure he was a captain every year because, he was clearly the leader on that side of the ball and of the whole team, really. So he's maybe it tells me that maybe he's just not that type of guy.
But here's
And
the thing.
after the breakdown of film, it, effort wise, it kind of looks that way too.
That's the key, Mo. After the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, he had an interview and they asked him, what happened to the Packers defense in that game? And Zadarius Smith said, well, we just weren't ready. I just wasn't ready. I wasn't up for the game. You just weren't ready for the NFC Championship game? Number 2, you missed this show, but there's a show in the past where we had Bruce on, because Bruce was talking about Zadarius Smith and how he was way overrated, and a bunch of Packer fans just lit his butt up on social media.
Yep.
And Bruce was like, hey, we got to talk about Zadarius Smith. Can I come on your show? And we're like, yeah, dude. And I went and I got video of every single Zadarius Smith sack, because he had 12 sacks last year, because that's a big number.
It is.
He got a big payday. He ended up getting like a bonus to his contract. And then he went and bought a car for Preston Smith, his good buddy, because they were buddies now.
Right.
Because he got the extra bonus and Preston helped him, because he'd make, sometimes he'd get pressure and then force it to Zadarius' side. So Zadarius is like, helping his buddy, and that's cool, right? Okay. And I don't think Zadarius is a bad guy as a person, right? But when we watch this tape of plays, and near the end of the season, when Zadarius would get a sack because he was playing D tackle a lot of the time. So Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary are getting pressure on the edges, and the quarterback will be forced forward. And even though Zadarius is making zero progress, the quarterback just kind of falls into his lap, and then he gets the sack. Okay? And it happens a couple times, and Zadarius is like getting up, and he's like, come on, guys, let's go celebrate. And he wants to celebrate with everybody. And all the other guys are kind of just like, and there's visible shots of Preston Smith with his hands on his hips being like, I just freaking beat my guy. And then he got the sack again. And he's going to get the money for it. And I'm just the guy now. And people were talking about Preston saying he had a bad year. And he knew they were talking about him. And I think a lot of the guys on the team are realizing that Zadarius Smith is a front runner. Zadarius Smith is a 1 or 2 play guy. 1 or 2 plays a game, he tries to do something crazy awesome, because that's what the fans remember, as opposed to everybody else on defense who does their assignment to the best of their ability on every play. And I think it's finally taken a couple years, but now the Packers players themselves on defense are now seeing, hey, wait a minute. This guy slacks off half the time, makes a couple splash plays, gets all the money and all the credit, and all the fans love him. But yet, he doesn't do his job half the time. And that's the reason why we're sometimes in bad trouble, because the play's going to his side and he's slacking off. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's got zero awareness because he only tries to beat the guy in front of him. He never keeps his eyes on the quarterback. There are plays I have video of that I put on our channel of Zadarius Smith going after the quarterback, concentrating on beating his guy, right? The ball's already out of the quarterback's hand. Every single other player is moving. It was like a wide receiver, like a bubble screen where like the guy catches it, throws it, boom, right? Every single other defensive line player is already moving toward where the ball went. And on the video, Zadarius is still trying to beat his his offensive tackle on the outside to get to the quarterback, because he's not watching the ball. His only goal is beat the guy in front of me, get a sack. Beat the guy in front of me, get a sack. And that's why on running plays or on delayed handoffs, you don't know what's going on. Just run to his side, because he's not paying attention to where the ball is. He just says, like, beat my guy, get a sack. Beat my guy, get a sack. That's where the money is. And I think now all the Packers defensive players are realizing it, and their votes have shown that they realize it. And it could be a very strange division within the team, if you ask me. And then when your other captains are the 2 guys who weren't there all offseason on offense, that's a little scary too. I'm concerned. LaFleur's got a job on his hands this year with the whole last dance, with the defense being new, with guys, obviously, clearly there's no defensive leader at all, and your offensive leaders are guys who are really against the team, when you think about it. Devontae Adams was asked, what are the chances of you getting, on Wednesday, what are the chances of you getting a extension done before the end of this year? He said, no chance. That's what Devontae said. No chance.
Oh.
That's your team captain?
Wow.
All right, I'll shut up for a while, because
Wow.
I've been going nuts.
These
are things where I'm like, what is going on? I'm a little.
I looked it up.
Are you worried that there's going to be a schism? Is there a schism in Green Bay?
The Vikings got their problems too. We'll get to that in a second.
Quick aside,
Um,
Schism is one of my favorite songs by Tool. Look it up. It is freaking amazing, awesome song. Okay.
All right.
It's super fun to play on Guitar Hero, by the way. Okay, back to you.
I looked it up last season, and in 2019, the Packers had solo captains, just one from specials, one from offense, one defense, and it was Crosby, Rogers, and Zadarius Smith, both 19 and 20. And this year, he couldn't even be in the top 3 captain votes.
What do you think about that, Mo? You think I think maybe I got something going, and maybe I know what the hell's going on?
And
I mean,
one
makes
other quick point, Mo. This Matt LaFleur talked about this. 25 players from the Packers got votes for captain this year. Now, I don't know what they are other years or whatever, but that's, that could, and Matt LaFleur is playing that as like, oh, so we have so many guys that are great leaders. He's playing it up like that. Does that say that to you, or does that say this team doesn't know who their leaders are because they don't have any really strong leaders because they got 25 different guys that got votes for captain this year? What does that say to you?
Is that normal? I guess I never really looked at the voting results for captain before. I even know if that was like public thing. But is that, I mean, do people like vote for guys in their own position groups a lot? And I don't know.
It seems like a lot. It's for a team that has basically all the same players, starters back, and a number of them that are established starters on both sides of the ball. That seems like a lot of guys to get votes to me.
Yeah. You guys want to guess the Viking captains? No, you don't really care. It's okay.
Dalvin Cook?
Yes.
You only have one captain on each part, right?
There's 3 on defense, 5 on offense.
5 on offense?
What the heck? The Vikings,
Adam
the Vikings even have 5 offensive players that are worth being captains.
I can't even think of 5 offensive players that are worth being captain. Adam Thielen.
Yes.
All right.
Justin Jefferson in his second year for some reason captain. Oh, okay, good.
Dalvin Cook.
I can't think of anybody else. Because your offensive linemen all suck, so none of one of them should be a
the
captain.
lineman that just signed an extension. I don't know if you heard about that. Brian O'Neill, right tackle. He signed his extension. So
they got 5 offensive players.
Yes, yeah. So Kirk Cousins is a captain. You probably
what? He should not be a captain.
The quarterback has to be a captain. There's one that's really kind of surprising offensively that I don't know if I'm trying to look up if he's been one before or not.
Oh, so he's a guy who's been around a while?
He's made the Pro Bowl. He does a lot of dirty work.
Oh, it must be like a fullback or something.
It is.
I have no idea who the fullback is on the Vikings.
CJ Ham. They call him the Ham.
Oh, yeah.
His first time captain. I just looked it up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Defensive captains are obviously Daniil Hunter, Kendricks, and Kendricks isn't a captain?
Kendricks?
You're kidding me.
Harrison Smith.
Yes, Harrison Smith.
Barr? Dirty. Oh, the Vikings dirty dog. Crap. Dirty guys.
There's a lot of people aren't happy about that one either here because he's been kind of dinged up. He plays hurt. Has, I don't know, you can call it Zadarius Smith syndrome sometimes where he
wears the same number
and whatever. So he's not going to play week 1 either, but he's dinged up. So that one was surprising too. I thought Kendrick made a lot more sense. But then the newcomer Patrick Peterson is a captain.
Really?
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot you guys signed.
Well, maybe maybe he's kind of that happens. I mean,
yeah, he's a veteran.
Zadarius Smith was captain 2 years in a row before they figured him out. I mean, oops. Yeah, Josh George, Zadarius Smith is not going to be on the show. Listen,
he's not even.
The weirdest
invited.
thing is before the season started before I got Game Pass, I was a Zadarius Smith fan, 100%. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I don't even eat sliced bread. I don't drink it either, but I don't eat it either. What I'm saying is, after I got Game Pass and I got to watch the play again, and I focus on him, and there's so many plays where he's just doing some crap. I don't even know what he's doing. It's like nothing. Or it's like the opposite of what he should be doing. Or he's like oblivious to stuff around him. And I'm like, what is going on with this guy? But he makes all the splash plays, and that's all the fans see. So they're like, he's good. I don't get it.
Yeah.
We said it. We said it last week on the show. We talked about quickly about the top 100, and Zadarius Smith was in the NFL top 100 again.
Yeah, tell Mo what he said.
fixated on. He kept talking about it. He's like, I got to know what that recipe is for Defensive Player of the Year. What's that recipe? Because I don't know how, I don't get it, but I got to be Defensive Player of the Year. He's more focused on that. And then in the process of talking, so they showed some of his highlights, right? And actually, what was really telling is there was only like 2 other players commenting on Zadarius Smith in the video. Otherwise, the rest of the time it was Zadarius Smith talking about Zadarius
really?
Smith. Yeah,
That's never good.
yeah. And and anyway, he's just so focused on this, and then he's talking about this play. Oh, I made that play against that team, and that one play here, and that one play there, and then he said something where he was like, I know as long as I make that one play, during a game, that everything's going to be fine. That we'll all, then everything's going to work out. So he's just focused on making that one play. And the other 79
The other 70 plays where he's slacking off.
He doesn't do anything or his job. He's not even in position most of the time. So I want a guy that does his job most of the time. If he makes a splash play once in a while, great. But I want a guy who does his freaking job, and so the defense works. And he does not do that. And the team has figured it out.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe he gets tired, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So don't play him as much.
Gary's
put him in
good.
there. If he wants to rush the quarterback, put him in there on 3rd down only and let him rush the quarterback.
There
He's
you
really good at that. I'll be happy and fine. I think he's a good pass rusher. But when you don't play on 1st down or 2nd down, that's a problem. And that's a concern. So maybe he should be, maybe his injury that he's got right now will help the team realize this sort of thing, that, hey, you know what? Maybe we should just start Preston and freaking Gary and make Zadarius a pass rushing specialist. Forget it. Sounds crazy, I know, but maybe it's the smartest move.
Man.
All right, we better get off this Zadarius Smith
Anyway,
stuff.
we got it. Yeah,
or
we gotta get
Joshua
off it.
George is like, he's never
right.
gonna.
Next part.
Zadarius is never coming on our show.
Mo's here. Welcome, Mo. Viking Mo.
Thanks. Thank you.
No one said anything mean to you yet, except Bernard did point out that the Vikings suck, but that he still loves you, so you're okay. So that's pretty nice.
But he also thinks Kevin King is good. So who knows what Bernard? He's kind of he thinks you're a nice guy, and he thinks Kevin King's good. So his judgment is off.
Now,
that's fair.
One quick question, Eric.
Yeah.
We didn't. I know the Vikings didn't get a chance because the Packers signed him so quickly. But do you believe that the Vikings would have signed Kevin King had they been given the opportunity? Had the Packers not re-signed him so quickly?
Well, they signed about 10 cornerbacks this offseason, so it's possible. It's possible, especially if Zimmer feels like he could, being the cornerback guru that he is, that, he could maybe turn him around or something. So I wouldn't have ruled him out. I mean, they just kept signing corners like crazy. So I'm like, I mean, I don't even know how many they had in the roster in preseason, but I think it was over 10. So it's just ridiculous. Just corners. I'm not talking about safeties either. So I wouldn't have ruled it out. But I'm glad it didn't happen.
Mo, I got a question for you, because I don't know.
Oh, Rick's got a question for Mo too. What is it, Rick?
Okay, hold on, Rick. Let me ask this one. You
ask
put it in the comments.
Yep.
This is because I'm and I hate being negative today. God dang. But
that's all you're going with today.
Last year, the Vikings let Jerry Gray go. The Packers signed him as their defensive backs coach, right? But it was also the same year that the Vikings drafted like 3 corners, right? Or at least 2 high pick corners. You would think that if Jerry Gray was a good defensive backs coach, they would want him coaching rookies. Yet they let him go. What is your opinion? Do you know anything about Jerry Gray's coaching prior with the Vikings? And perhaps maybe they were letting him go because he ain't that good of a coach. Because it scares me.
Yeah, he wasn't that good of a player either. He was played for Detroit Lions in his career. I don't know if he played for anybody else either, but I never really. It's kind of a different thing. It's one of those things where Zimmer almost really coaches the defensive backs more than the defensive backs coach does. So I don't know. It wasn't really well documented if they had a falling out or whatever it was, because he was here for a few years. So
I know.
But then you had things like some of the corners they had just wasn't working out with Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes, and they go on to other places and whatever. And so maybe it just came to a head. But I mean, it makes a pretty good point by itself, right? I mean,
Well, it's just really weird to me
Yeah.
that they draft 2 guys and then they're like,
they
this guy
drafted
who's
3, but
supposed.
too high.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all we heard when they signed him was like, oh, this guy's a great defensive backs coach. He's with the Vikings, and the Vikings always have a great defensive backs, right? So it must be because he's such a great defensive backs coach.
Maybe not.
All
Well,
right.
before we get to Rick's question for Mo, I have a question, and maybe it's more rhetorical, but maybe you guys have an answer. Why did the Packers and Vikings choose to then basically exchange crappy defensive coaches last year? Like, why did so the Packers got Gray, which I don't think he does a very good job, and it doesn't appear to be the case. And then the Vikings said, "Well, we'll just take Dom Capers on then, since I don't get it. I like, what the hell is that all about?"
Well, I mean, Dom Capers was, and he's not with the team this year, but
Well, obviously,
they had him as like more of a consultant role. He wasn't in a. That's what he was like, and I think that what it really was that Zimmer wanted to pick his brain about 3-4. He wanted to try to incorporate some hybrid 3-4, and they had so many injuries they couldn't even really do it. So they might see more of it this year, but he just wanted to have more variety. I think he was worried he was getting a little stale with his double A gap and 4-3 over defense. That he was just looking for different input in different ways to put pressure on, and that was it. And it didn't really last, obviously. So I think he got what he needed out of him, and now it's moved on. So.
Ben, when does the 3-4 work?
Never.
No, against like dumb quarterbacks or young quarterbacks.
Well, it's
who
against
don't
dumb
know.
quarterbacks if you do it right.
Right.
But I mean, like for the instance, the Packers run a 3-4, and is my internet connection stupid again, or
No,
what?
you're good. You're
We
good.
got you.
All right. Well, something weird's going on. But when, like the Packers, for instance, now don't run a 3-4 because the guys that they have outside linebacker never go back in coverage. So you always know they're coming. So the whole point of the 3-4 is that you're supposed to take big guys at defensive line, chewing up blocks, and then you don't know which of the 4 linebackers are coming and which of the 4 linebackers are staying back in coverage. And that's the key, right? Surprise, trickeration, all that kind of crap. And the Packers, because they have defensive or outside linebackers who can't cover, there's no surprise. They're coming every time. So what is that? That's like a 5-1-5 is what they play, or a 4-2-5. Because half the time they don't even have 3 defensive linemen in there. They only have 2. And they get ran over because Zadarius Smith's worried about beating this guy on a running play. I want to get to the quarterback on a running play. Genius move. So
Somehow we made our way back to Zadarius.
anyways, okay, I'm sorry. But that's why 3-4 works when you trickeration. Look at TJ Watt. That guy, sometimes he blitzes. Sometimes he backs up and gets a pick. He had 3 picks last year, I think, or something like that.
He got paid this week.
That dude's crazy. Why? Because they play it right. And he has the skill to play it right. He can cover. He can rush. He can frickin' tackle. He does read the frickin' quarterback. He does follow the ball. He's a good player in a good system. A 3-4, where his defensive linemen take on blocks and let him be able to, roam free on the outside. That's genius moves. When the Packers moved from a 4-3 to a 3-4 at the end of the 2000s, when they brought Dom Capers in, they had 3 awesome defensive linemen. They did. And then even they had a guy coming in off the bench who was pretty good with Howard Green when they signed him later in the season. But when you had, they had Jenkins and Cullen Jenkins, BJ Raji, and Ryan Pickett. Those guys were all over 300 pounds, and they were great at taking on blocks. They could shed blocks if they needed to. They could take on a double team, and they could 2-gap. They could do all of those things. The Packers defensive line now, none of those guys can do that. Not even Kenny Clark can do that because they're all too small, or they're not athletic enough or strong enough. And that's the problem. And then half the time they don't even play 3 down linemen. They only play 2. And the times when they have played 3 down linemen, they've done a much better job of stopping the run like they did against Tennessee because they were worried about Derrick Henry. So what do? They played 3 down linemen all the time, and they dominated, and it was awesome. But that's when a 3-4 looks good. The Vikings, they usually, like Mo says, they usually do a 4-3, but they also do some weird stuff because you don't know, like, what is Anthony Barr, I don't even know what he is. He kind of just blitzes all the time, and I don't know what he is. He doesn't really do anything. But you got Eric Kendricks, who's awesome because he's all over the place. So he makes up for the fact that they don't know what they're doing with Anthony Barr, right? And then you also got Harrison Smith, who's awesome. So you're like, okay, but they're getting old. What do you think about that, Mo? You guys are getting old. You're worried about slowing down?
Hold on. We gotta get to Rick's question, and I got a related question.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we got a quick TJ Watt question. So TJ Watt was drafted at pick 30 in 2017. We all know this because the Packers should have drafted him at pick 29, and they were just like, "Oh, that's okay. We'll pass on that guy, and we'll go back a few spots and then draft Kenny King." Kenny King or whatever. Mo, who did the Vikings draft in the first round in 2017? Do you know?
2017.
I'm looking at it. It looks like they
4
didn't have a
years.
first round pick. I don't know if
4 years ago.
they got Cook in the
That
second
was-
round.
Yeah, because in 2016 they gave up their first round pick for Sam Bradford. 'Cause that's the year that Bridgewater got hurt
Oh,
suddenly.
that was a bad move.
Really, well, it was a desperate move, and not great. So yeah, they didn't have a first round pick in 2017.
Oh, the Packers. So anyway, we both of our teams whiffed on that. Well, the Vikings
2017.
may not have whiffed because they didn't have a pick, but the Packers whiffed.
They whiffed in a different way.
And they would have had. Think about that.
Packers
If
got
the
a guy-
Packers had to pay TJ Watt this year and then pay Jair the next year,
Yeah.
that'd be lots of money on defense, man.
I'm pretty sure the Packers got a steal in round 5 in 2017, like a major steal in round 5 in 2017. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they got a huge steal. I could be wrong. What do you think,
right.
Mo?
Rick's question. Sorry. Rick says, Mo, did you draft Tom Brady? Did you draft him or was it auto draft?
Oh,
On Wednesday's draft.
yeah, it was me. I drafted him.
Why? Why did you draft
Because I wanted a second quarterback.
Because you
Yeah.
weren't sold on your original quarterback. Who was that? Your first quarterback?
Tannehill. Yeah, and I started Brady last night too. So 4 touchdowns, 300 yards.
He played pretty well. He wasn't as good as Dak, McCarthy Magic.
No, Dak did great. That was a great trade so far, Jace.
I drafted him in the Hafeman Bros League, so I feel okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, my Ezekiel Elliott.
I didn't know that was like an unwritten rule. I wasn't supposed to draft Tom Brady. Is that a rule?
It's usually reserved for Nico, but I mean, that's cool. If
He
you wanted
took
to get in
Justin
there.
Jefferson again, so I felt.
No, he didn't. I got him this time.
Oh,
Herbert. Ben got Herbert.
I had to take him way too early, but I
Yeah.
knew Nico was good. Nico took way too long in the third round to make his pick, and I was like, I bet you he was thinking about taking Justin Jefferson, but he didn't do it so I wouldn't get mad. So that I made sure I took him before he could come back around and somebody else would steal him. But then I didn't draft a wide receiver until like round 6, which really hurts me. But now I got to make a trade with Eric Eric Dahl, because he's got like 27 freaking wide receivers that are good, and I have none. I have 27 wide receivers, but none of them are any good.
I don't know if we've talked about anything that productive tonight, but the season starts, so we'll get onto that in a little bit. Plus, we got to log some YouTube hours. We got to get our hours back up so we can get closer to that monetization range. I'm going to kick it over to Mo. Mo, let's give us your take on your Vikings.
Yeah.
Here, tell us what you think about your Vikings going into the season. Are you excited? Are you lukewarm on them? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I was pretty excited by their offseason in general, just the additions they made to defense and how the draft went and everything. And then I became less excited as the season approached here because they've Funyuns. It's great. But the problem is that they got some injuries, so they lost Irv Smith, who they were looking forward to kind of have a breakout at tight end to replace Rudolph, and they think he's actually going to be gone for the whole year. So that one really stinks because they were really looking for him to add some extra pressure and juice to the offense because Rudolph was really slow. So that one kind of stinks. So they made a trade to get a tight end and everything to try to shore that up because they like to run 2 tight ends a lot. But they worked some magic because they had like no cap space, and then they signed like Patrick Peterson for like $8 million a year, and somehow their cap space stayed the same. And then they signed, this Dalvin Tomlinson from the Giants. He's a defensive tackle, and and somehow their cap space like barely went down at all. So I don't know how they're doing this, but they did all that. They re-signed their best offensive lineman, O'Neal, to an extension. They re-signed Harrison Smith to an extension, and somehow they still have cap space. I don't know. They still have like $4 million in cap space. So, so they brought in Brashard Breeland at corner. Just made some really big additions to the defense. So, and then they get Michael Pierce back, who opted out COVID. He's a nose tackle they got from Baltimore. So right now their defensive front looks night and day because they get Danielle Hunter back, right? He missed all last season with his neck injury. Everyone's saying he's looking great. So the whole defensive line looks completely revamped and kind of rejuvenated. Barr has been nicked up with like some kind of a knee thing. He's going to miss at least week 1. And then their first round pick had to have surgery again, like a minor surgery. So he wasn't put on PUP or any IR or anything, but he's going to miss week 1. He's supposed to, they were hoping he'd start at left tackle. So they have Rashard Hill, who's their swing tackle, starting at left tackle, which is maybe fine for a game. But that's not going to be ideal if it has to be prolonged. But so we'll see. It's just all these injuries, and they tried that, and like just like the Packers and a lot of other teams, they didn't play a lot of guys during preseason, but they got injured anyway. I mean, Irv Smith, I think, played 1 preseason game, caught a couple balls, and got hurt. I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm a little worried because the team is very top heavy with like their salaries and their talent, and there's really not much depth, especially at safety. Definitely not at linebacker, not at defensive end, defensively, and really not any depth on the offensive line either. So,
well, Eric Wilson went to some other team, didn't he?
He did, and he
looked pretty good last year.
He made plays, and he got a chance to play, and I've always liked him. It's, but he's actually not a very good tackler, at all. He's really good in coverage, but he's also a little undersized and gets pushed around. So I liked him as a depth piece, but I don't really. I'm fine with him getting overpaid to be a starter somewhere else. But there's depth problems across the whole roster, and they've already had injuries, so they need a lot of things to kind of go right in the health department, I think, to be okay here.
It's interesting because they have. A lot of people were talking about how the defensive line and the run defense should be better. Mm-hmm. Especially with the Pierce being back and then more bulk on the D line. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. I think there's still a lot of question marks, as there are a lot of teams. I think the one thing people are thinking are the Vikings really, and wondering about, are the Vikings really a contender for the North title, for the playoffs? How do you feel? You think playoffs are in the cards this year, or challenging for the division?
Yeah, it's like I said, I think a lot has to go right still. The defense is going to be better. I mean, they had so many injuries to, especially on the defensive side at linebacker and defensive line, and they were just getting run over. They were getting passed on because I think they had 23 sacks last year or something as a defense. So, and then you got young guys in the secondary and they had to cover guys all day. It was a nightmare. So I think, when you look at the defensive line and the pressure they'll be able to bring should be much better, and kind of maybe what more we're accustomed to, at least recently under Zimmer. So I think the defense will be a lot better, only because at least because it was so bad last year. But I think it will be in the top half of the league defensively, honestly. And the offense last year, they were a top 5 offense in terms of yards, not in scoring. I think scoring is more in the top 10, but I mean, it was a good offense. They just started really slow. Cousins had a couple bad games early, and they really couldn't dig their way out of it. So it's hard to say. I think if the offensive line is even a little bit better than last year, and we're hoping it will be, they're already pretty good run blockers, but it's the pass protection, right? And I think everybody knows that. And you keep Cousins upright, give him time. The offense can be pretty explosive with the weapons they have, even without Irv Smith. So, to answer your question, I think they can compete for the playoffs. But I think they need to find, they're going to need to find their groove and play really good complementary football. I think what I'm curious about finding out is, when things go wrong, things go off script, the defense is giving up some plays, can the offense, put the team on their back and score when they need to, or not, because I think they can be a dynamic passing team. They're obviously a running team with Dalvin Cook and Madison, but can they really get those explosive plays and march down the field when they need to? And so that's something we really haven't seen, even though they've been an effective offense. So that's my roundabout way. I think they can contend for the playoffs. I think for the division, it's going to be tough. I mean, I don't see many teams challenging Green Bay in the division. I mean, I think I'm just being honest, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Aaron Rodgers is just pissed off, and I think he's just going to be super motivated. He's a team captain. I just think that it's going to be tough as long as everybody stays healthy there. I think his offensive line's not as great, but I mean, when you're talking about winning the division, you have to talk about who you're playing against, right? I think that the Vikings can beat Chicago. I think everyone's going to beat Detroit, and Detroit will even beat Detroit. But it's Detroit's bad. But I think
they got Jamal Williams.
Yep, Detroit's bad. So
Listen, Jamal Williams was in there on third down sometimes, and not Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
Jamal Williams would get entire drives.
I know, which is
piece.
Foolish.
And every opponent that played the Packers were like, "Thank you."
Right. Sorry, Ben. So you think the Packers are the team to beat, and they have been the last 2 years. So you have to be able to beat them. You have to be able to have a better record than them, and that's going to be a challenge, I think. But if the Vikings stay healthy and things pull together, I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
Well, Mike, as you know, Mike Florio is a huge Vikings fan, and he says that every other year the Vikings make the playoffs, and this is their year. Every odd year they make the playoffs.
Yep.
So this is the year the Vikings are supposed to make the playoffs, and I think the only way they can is if the Bears aren't as good as everybody thinks they're possibly going to be. I've heard a lot of people saying the Bears are going to be like 8-8, or not 8-8, 8-9. There's 17 games, right? So it's different, but and if they are 8-9, that means the Vikings are going to be somewhere around 8-9, 9-8. And I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs be at that same type of spot. And the thing about the Bears is I think their defense is not as good as everybody says it is the last couple of years. It's just not. And
they lost some players.
And they lost corner. Yeah, they lost a couple of corners this year. So it's like, I think they're going to be giving up. They can be passed on, I think, this year more than in the past. But the weirdest part about a lot of these teams, like a lot of people saying the Packers are so good, is the Packers' weakness this year is going to be their offensive line. For the first time in a really long time, the only weakness is going to be offensive line. And we saw what happened in the NFC Championship game when the weakness is the offensive line. Like Rodgers doesn't have time to even do anything, and if the receivers get jammed, they can't get open. Even Devontae, it takes him 25 years to juke his guy 3 times for a freaking 5-yard slant. It takes, come on, Rodgers is going to get sacked before he's even open. We've seen it happen. The only guy is MVS, who's quick enough to beat his guy on an out route. That's how the Packers scored that 1 touchdown in the first half of the NFC Championship game, because MVS went crazy. And the weird thing was, I saw somebody do a breakdown of that play and a couple plays before that, and how the Packers had struggling so bad as getting open. Rodgers threw that ball before MVS even beat the guy, because he saw the blitz coming and he knew he had no time. And he just kind of chucked it up. And that's why, like, when you watch the playback, it looks like MVS had to slow down and wait for it, and the guy kind of grabbed him and pulled him, because Rodgers threw it before MVS even was past the guy. He just was like, that's it. I got to let it go. I got to hope MVS is going to run fast, beat this guy. And he did. And the Packers scored a touchdown. But so that's going to be interesting. And also, we got a rookie center this year who apparently can't hear anything when in crowd noise.
Oh, yeah.
Because when they went to play the Bills, like Jordan Love is like, dude, hey, hike the ball, hike the ball, hike the ball. And he's not looking at the play clock. And it's like delay game. Like everybody else is like moving and he's just sitting there. Like, dude, you got to watch the play clock. At least come on, at least you'll know it's time to go or turn around and call a timeout or do something or quarterback or whatever. And I know Rodgers will be more on top of that stuff, but Rodgers likes to be in shotgun. So if you're on the road in shotgun and your center apparently doesn't pay attention to the shot or the play clock, we could be in trouble there too. And we also got another rookie who's probably going to be starting at guard, who's more of a tackle than a guard. But the Packers keep drafting these tackles and putting him at guard. And then they wonder why Aaron Jones has got to make 25 guys miss just to get a freaking 5-yard carry sometimes. And then you get the Vikings who just run over dudes, double team, run over dudes. And Delvin Cook has got wide open lanes. And then Aaron Jones has got to squeeze and juke and flip and all this crazy crap. I wish Aaron Jones was on the Vikings. I was hoping that they weren't going to sign back Delvin Cook last year. I was hoping that Aaron Jones would go to the Vikings. He'd play on turf 8 games a year behind that offensive line for running. Aaron Jones would have destroyed the league. He would have 2,000 yards rushing. But nope, he's stuck with the pack again with a bunch of guys who can't run block, and he's just got to make them look good.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right,
I think the Vikings have a chance because they have a quarterback who is a very accurate quarterback.
If they can protect him. And the other part is, and I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they didn't score an offensive touchdown the whole preseason. So that's a problem. But I mean, it's preseason, right? They didn't play a lot of the guys, and I get that. But Cousins did play a little bit, and Delvin
Cook wasn't in there.
No, neither was their second running back. So I mean,
come on.
It is what it is. But everyone's like kind of, and then we have Clint Kubiak, right? So Gary Kubiak's son, he's a first-time signal caller for offensive coordinator, and I think everyone knows he's going to run a very similar system to his father, but they're wondering what tweaks he'll have. He's he's never called plays before in an NFL game, so I mean he did preseason, and we saw all the vanilla plays obviously during the preseason. But there's a big unknown there, right? I mean, how is that going to come together as well? There's just a lot of unknowns, and I'm wondering how they're all going to kind of when the shoe drops here, how is it all going to come together? It could be good, it could not. We'll see.
The thing, I think people are sleeping on the Vikes. I got to be honest. When you're getting all these guys back on defense who weren't there last year, and like Kendricks was hurt half the year.
Yeah, he missed 6 games.
And you're getting upgrades at corner, veteran corners over rookies last year who are both gone, right? One of them's hurt. The other one is like in trouble. So that he's like out of the league or whatever.
Yep.
So it's like you got veteran corners now. You got a veteran safety, veteran linebackers. Your defensive line is intact. You signed that good guy from the Giants, like you said. They're bringing back the guy who they signed last year who had COVID out. So you got really big, beefy dudes inside. You don't no longer have Yannick Ngakoue or Unique Ngakoue, whatever his name was, who's smaller than AJ Dillon playing on your defensive line. You don't have that anymore, so that's good for you. I'm telling you, I think the Vikings defense is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I really do.
A ton better for sure.
I mean, you're talking. They'll stop the run. I think they can get pressure. They got corners who maybe they're not fast, right? So if you guys get beat, you're in trouble. But they're crafty. They'll get away with crap, and they'll probably play a lot more bump and run. I don't know. I mean, I know he likes to do zone blitzes and stuff there, but still, I think they'll play up more. And Patrick Peterson likes to do that crap, and he gets away with stuff. Nobody other guys don't. That'll help you. Just like Bakhtiari says, you say he gets away with stuff. Well, let me tell you, Patrick Peterson's going to get away with some stuff, and that's one thing. And then on offense, hey, so you don't have a tight end, right? Keep him in. Help him. Help the offensive line. What's your weakness? Pass blocking? Oh, okay. Keep this guy in. Have him help out. You don't have to send that many guys out in routes. Justin Jefferson will beat some guys. Adam Thielen will freaking beat some guys. You give enough time. Give Kirk Cousins enough time. And Cousins is accurate as crap. Maybe they need to be doing more of that crap.
Yeah.
And then also, hey, we watched last night. Ezekiel Elliott picked up 27 blitzes last night. I don't know. Keep Hafeman there. He can pick up some blitzes.
Yeah.
Just send out Delvin Cook and Jefferson and Thielen. You're good. Max protects, 7 guys protecting Kirk Cousins. He's got all day. He feels comfortable. He's throwing dimes. I'm scared. I think that's what I would do. Now, course, I'm not the coach of the Vikings, so obviously you're probably going to do a bunch of dumb stuff. You're going to lose. But I'm just saying, I think you should be pretty positive. You got a lot of stuff coming back. The Mike Florio, odd year playoff run. That's a thing.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, thanks. I like to feel optimistic about it, and it's just an interesting dynamic, and I'm wondering how it's going to work out offensively, because I think Zimmer really wants complementary football. So run the ball, possess the ball, score a field goal if you want to. You'd rather win 3-0 than 30-27. So
the most boring game of all time last year was Vikings at Packers, where the Packers had the ball like 2 times and the Vikings had the ball 2 times, and that was it. And they scored every time and the Vikings won.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's just I just like to see them kind of take off the training wheels a little bit, because they have the weapons and the juice to do it, I think. So, like I said, it'd be interesting to see with a young budding offensive coordinator if he's going to do anything like that.
It's funny because first of all, I want to make a point about Rashad Breeland. He, he's bounced around a little bit, but when he came to the Packers, he was pretty good. And then, made his way to Kansas City, and he was impactful for them. So he's a solid corner. Yeah, he's a solid corner.
He beat out Dantzler too, and a few other guys. So he earned his spot. He's been playing well.
Yep.
I don't know why he's bouncing around so much. I don't get it.
I mean, he's one of those guys.
He's a tweener.
Right. And he's not like a dominant corner, but he's a good corner. So he's one of those guys that often gets overlooked and we could maybe go with the young guy there. A lot of teams think that, but he's got a lot of good pieces to his game. And he was only on the Packers for, I think, 10 games or half a season or something, because he was like a mid-season pickup, but he was good. He was impactful. He made plays. He was one of the few guys that made plays in the defense.
Yeah.
So I was kind of disappointed when they didn't sign him back and let him go, but he's an interesting guy. And then the O-line is the other part. It's like the Packers have had pretty solid O-lines. Now what we thought they were going to do coming into the season, a preseason, is completely backwards to what they're doing now. So they've taken Lucas Patrick and put him on left guard, which makes no sense. And then they stuck the rookie in at right guard, and they got a rookie center, and then they got Billy Turner, automatic starter, no matter what. And then who's the other guy, Ben? Oh yeah, Jenkins.
Mr. Perfect.
Oh yeah, the best.
Perfect.
I want Bruce to examine plays of Elton Jenkins to show me that he's the greatest offensive lineman of all time, because I'm not buying it. I mean, he's good. He's good, but he's not the greatest offensive lineman.
His center play was in question when he played center last year.
And I still I think that's overlooked, but go ahead. I was
going to ask Mo my question of what I said a couple weeks ago, right? Where I was like, here's the thing. The Packers what they do is they take all these guys, okay? And they're like, let's see. Let's take this guy. You're going to train at right guard, left guard, and center, so that you can do everything. We're going to train you at right guard and left guard. We're going to train you at right guard, left guard, and center. We're going to train you only at center. And then we're going to train you at left guard, left guard, right tackle, left tackle. That's right, left guard twice, and center. That's Elton Jenkins. And we're going to make sure, or then what we're going to do is, okay, we're going to move you all around, because Bakhtiari got hurt, except for Billy Turner. Apparently, you're going to play right tackle no matter what. And apparently, the rookie second-round pick who can't hear anybody is going to be center no matter what. Okay. But then what we're going to do is we think that Elton Jenkins is our best backup left tackle, even though he's our starting left guard. So we're going to put him at left tackle. So what that does is makes us weaker at left guard and weaker at left tackle. No matter what. No matter what we do, we're going to be weaker at both positions. And then what we're going to do is we have this rookie who we really want to put in there apparently, but he's better at right guard than he is at left guard. And because we want to put him in there so bad, we're going to take our starting right guard and make him left guard, where he struggled last year whenever he played left guard. That's what the Packers are doing. My thinking was, let's take our best player at each position, right? Our best right guard is Lukey Patrick. Let's start him at right guard. our best left guard is Elton Jenkins. Let's start him at left guard. Then you've got 2 solid veterans on the opposite sides of a rookie center. That could be helpful for that rookie center, as opposed to having to start next to another rookie. Also, we've got this guy on our team, this Yash Nijman or Yash Nyman or whatever his name is, this athletic freak at
Unique?
tackle.
Oh, okay.
Close. This athletic freak at tackle, right? Who's been on the team for like 3 years, hasn't played it down, but they keep making it. He keeps making the roster, the 53 roster every year. Never plays ever, never ever, not on anything ever. Keeps making it. And he's supposed to be like this left tackle in training, right? And instead of playing him, they're going to move Elton Jenkins over to left tackle. Why are we keeping this guy for 3 years if he never plays? And to be honest, he didn't look half bad this preseason when he played in the preseason.
Oh, he looked pretty good.
So you have a solid interior, right? Because you got a very good Pro Bowl left guard. You got a veteran right guard with your rookie center helping him out. You start this athletic freak at left tackle who maybe's got some technical issues, but he's got some skills athletically, right? And you can help him out. And then you start. I would start anybody, but they're starting Billy Turner right tackle, whatever.
There's no way Yash can be
My
worse
opinion
than
is
Billy
this.
Turner.
Other people are saying, no. You take your best offensive lineman and you put him at left tackle, period, end of story. Don't even do anything else. He's your best. You better be playing left tackle because Aaron Rodgers is blindside, blah, blah, blah. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a blind side. Aaron Rodgers knows when stuff's coming, or he just doesn't know when stuff's coming. I've seen Aaron Rodgers gets blitzed on from the right side multiple times and not see it coming and get strip sacked from the right side. So don't tell me that the left side or the right side matters. Aaron Rodgers is either going to see it or he ain't going to see it. Play your guys at the best. If this guy's going to be your starter at left guard before the season started, before Bakhtiari's injury, that's the guy you start at left guard. That's the guy you start at right guard. That's the guy you start at center. And then you bring your backup in at left tackle. When you're moving guys all over the place, then they finally, maybe after week, 3, will finally be playing because they didn't play together all preseason, by the way. But now they're going to play together. It'll take 3 games to get together, right? Then all of a sudden, Bakhtiari comes back for week 7, and they got to readjust everybody, move everybody around, and then figure it all out again. I think it's dumb. What do you think? I think I made a pretty good case. Go Mo.
Well, actually, this sounds eerily similar to what the Vikings are doing too. So, because last year they drafted Ezra Cleveland, he's a left tackle, and middle of the year they started him at right guard due to injuries and because Dakota Dozier is horrible. So he played right guard. So and actually played okay for I think he played like 5 or 6 games, and then this year they said, well, we're going to move you to left guard, and we're going to put in. Hopefully this rookie or this guy his name's Oli Udo, who they've been working on, similar to the guy you mentioned, Yanish or whatever, right? They had him at right tackle because they really like, his, athleticism and everything. But now he's playing right guard. So, I mean, because it's the spot's open, right? So, I mean, so it's the thing is like they drafted a first round pick to play left tackle, got hurt, not ready to play yet. But they just put their swing tackle in there, right? They didn't move their best lineman like Brian O'Neill over to left tackle because they just didn't want to mess with what he's always done, which is right tackle. But I mean, Jenkins is used to moving around the line, right? So it's probably fine. But yeah, I think it's hard when you think about Garrett Bradbury. Everyone's kind of knock on him and everything, but he's had horrible guards on both sides of him, and I think that's hard on a rookie, right? I mean, or second year player or young player. So hopefully that gets better. But I think to your point, I think I'd like to have at least something solid on one side of him, if not both sides, that they know what they're doing and help a rookie. So a rookie center, that's tough. That's a tough call, right? You have to do a lot of the calls and everything. And so especially if you can't hear, I mean, that's a lot. You might need someone who knows what's going on next to you. So, but I mean, it happens. I think the whole league is short on offensive linemen and quality linemen. So they're just plugging in the best guy wherever they think they can. And there's probably not, maybe, I don't know, there's a lot of different theories on what the best thing to do is.
So how did all that shuffling around work out for the Vikings the last couple of years?
Well, I mean, again, there's a pass blocking problem, and they had Riley Reef, who's now on the Bengals, but he played pretty solidly at left tackle. He did pretty well. The pressure they had was up the middle, which is the worst kind of pressure for a quarterback, right? So, so they really needed some better guard play. So I'm hoping they got it kind of figured out here now, but they need some guys to really kind of step up, especially Bradbury here, year 3. But they hopefully have a couple of good guys next to him, but we'll see. I mean, if they can just avoid that, getting guys pushed in Cousins' lap, I think they'll be a lot better. But I mean, I don't know. I never played offensive line, so is it easier to go from right tackle to right guard, left guard to left tackle? Or is it harder to go from right guard to left guard because it's the opposite side?
I don't know. We should ask our resident guard. What do you say, Jason? You were a 160-pound guard in high school for some reason.
Hey, and I also tried to be a 190-pound guard.
I know. I remember that was.
But
awesome.
then I got knocked on my ass, and then the coach was like, "That's it, you're out of here." And then I switched to tight end. So and then I lost like 10 pounds.
I thought you played defensive end too. Do you play?
Yeah,
both
it's two ways. Eric,
Okay.
It's like a town. I mean, the school had like 300 people in it, so it's two-way
Gotcha.
player all the time.
That is exhausting.
So, I mean, it was fine. I mean, football is like try hard for a couple seconds, then you get a break. Try hard, play for a couple seconds, then you get a break.
Hey, is that Zadarius Smith you're talking about?
No, I mean, you try hard.
He can't even do that. He can't even try hard for a couple seconds.
All right. So
tell us what's it like. Have you played guard?
Yeah, I played right guard, then I played left guard, and then I played, tight end, which meant you were flipping both sides of the line and doing different stuff, and you had to change stuff. But for the most part, these guys talk about how their footwork's all different, when you flip sides, and how it's like your hand, basically how you start with your hands, how you start with your feet is flipping. That can be difficult for people. So, I mean, all the jockeying around, I think, is counterproductive. It's like Ben and I have talked about it. Rick's talked about it. Other people have been on our show, have talked about it. Why don't you decide who you feel like your best guys are, put them in a spot, let them get comfortable in that spot, and that's where they play. Because then they can really develop in that role at that position on the line. But what the Packers did all last year, have done in recent years, is get all these versatile guys, and then they shuffle things around all the time. Any injury, we're not just going to plug a guy in from an injury. We're going to change 3 guys' positions with one injury. And to me, I don't know, it seems overly complicated. But what we're going to learn from the Packers in the first 6 games especially is we're going to find out how smart Aaron Rodgers really is. And we're going to find out, how well Matt LaFleur can coach. Because they're going to have to prepare for this offensive line not being very good and Rodgers not having much time. And we'll see. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers is as smart as he says he is, or people think he is. Because if he is, he'll know, look, these guys don't know what the hell's going on. I'm not going to have much time. Get the ball out, figure it out. Boom, done. None of this. You got to trust my guys up front. No, you don't. You got to be smart enough not to trust your guys up front because they're not trustworthy at this point. So that's what we'll find out. I'm just telling you, man.
The most boring offensive line talk. We talk more offensive line on the show.
We talk a lot of O-line
show in the history of Packer shows.
I will always be an offensive lineman at heart, even though I was undersized. I tried my damnedest. But yeah, what happened was it was a day of practice. Actually, I
heard this story.
My senior year, when I got taken out of offensive line, where I was determined no longer to be an offensive lineman.
Wait. We got to tell them what happened the summer before your senior year. Because at the end of your junior year, you were 160
Do you
pounds.
want to know the whole story?
And at the beginning of your senior year, for football practice, you were 190 pounds. You gained 30 pounds.
195. I weighed in at 195.
You gained 35 pounds in 2.5 months.
Not 2.5 months. It was like 6 months, something like that. 6-7 months. But anyway, the point was, here's the key to gaining weight. You make frozen pizzas at like 10 p.m. Eat a whole pizza yourself. You eat your regular dinner, all your other regular meals. And 10 p.m. when you're going to watch Major Harris college football, you make a frozen pizza and you eat the whole damn thing yourself. and then you go to bed, and then you go and you lift weights. You don't run, no running at all. Because football, let's be real. Like if you're playing line, you don't have to run very far most of the time. You take a couple steps, you push the guy around a little bit, and then the play's over, and then you're done. So you don't have to work on cardio and running, but you have to bulk. So that's what I did. And I did. I gained 35 pounds in like 8 months or 7 months or whatever it was. But I couldn't keep the weight on. But I started because like literally I was dropping weight. Like we had that first day and I weighed in at my peak and I was like, yeah. And then by the next week, 1 week later, I was down 5 pounds. And then I played most of the season like 10, 15 pounds down, like 180, 185. But I tried. I blocked like crap on one play, and my coach was yelling at me, and I kind of hated him anyway. And I was kind of pissed off. And then he lined up like our fattest guy, our biggest.
You had to pull in. I remember this story.
Yeah,
you told me this when we were doing some radio.
It was a short trap block, trap block. So I was left guard. He was lined up at left defensive tackle. I had to trap him, and I was supposed to blow him out of the hole to create this hole because you're going to a short trap block as a guard. Yeah. More offensive line talk. So if anybody's still around, we lost them at this point. So I take my step, and I was pissed off because I screwed up and I was mad, and I was like, okay, fine. My coach is yelling at me. I hate my coach. Fine. So I go and I'm like, I don't care if this guy weighs 275 and I'm 185. I'm going to go for it. I'm laying my shoulder into him full speed on the short trap block. And I did. And I went like perfect form, perfect everything you want. I just wasn't big enough. And I laid my shoulder and I got my shoulder into his stomach. And I literally felt it was like a second delay because I felt I got absorbed into his stomach. My whole shoulder and body kind of like his girth kind of surrounded my shoulder. It kind of wrapped around. And then I got catapulted back very abruptly and ended up on my ass. And then my coach is yelling at me again. And then he's like, Hafeman, get out of here. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And I was like, that dude weighs 85 more pounds than me. Like, what the hell do you expect? Like, I'm not going to knock him over. And did you see the delay? It was like slow motion. I was like, I got sucked into his body and then pushed back quickly. And I ended up on my ass. And then I was tight end, which is probably,
but then what happened? The quarterback got hurt. So they had to take the tight end who was a quarterback as a freshman and they made him the quarterback. Yeah. And then you were a tight end when you were a freshman. So they were like, who could play tight end? Oh, wait, Jason can catch. Here.
Like, he's not very tall. He's not tall and he's not fast.
They went from a 6 foot, what was he, 6'4", 6'5" tight end to a 5'10" tight end.
This show's getting really bad. They're like, you're not tall, you're not fast, but you're not big enough to play guard. What the heck are we going to do with you? Oh, wait, that's right. You can catch. So we'll have you play tight end and we'll throw the ball to you once a game. So that's what happened. That was my last experience in football.
Nice.
Whew.
Well, thanks for explaining that offensive line play. It's really.
Anyways, short trap blocks are fun unless you're going against a guy who weighs like 100 pounds more than you.
Right.
But I never had I flipped sides, but I wasn't as advanced as like pro guys. You know, I suppose they do the footwork and practice it 100 million times and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I thought, and Ben and I have talked about this last point. And Rick says, and had no yards after the catch. Because yes, every time I caught the ball, I fell down.
Oh, you fit right in with the Packers tight end.
I know. I'm Alan Lazard. I am Mercedes Lewis. I could be an NFL player. I could catch the ball and fall down just like all the Packers do. Anyway, so what was I going there? Oh yeah. So last thing about it is that you have like the Packers have this line that is really scary to me. I've been talking about it the whole preseason. Nobody cares about it. And all the people that talk about football are like, oh, the Packers got Devontae Adams and they got Rodgers and they got Aaron Jones and like this team's just going to bowl everybody. I'm like, dude, if their line sucks, those guys can't do what they're supposed to be able to do. And we're going to find out like really quickly in the first few games.
Yeah, the worst part is we don't know because we haven't seen anything in preseason.
Right. We just saw the rookies play, but not play with the guys they're going to be playing with. And so we have no idea what this line is going to look like. And I don't care if nobody wants to talk
for all we know. Then we're really in trouble.
Could be scary. Could be really bad. Whew. That's the story.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, I have a question. I have
Yeah.
a question since we're into the show quite a ways, and I wanted to ask this question. Maybe it'll liven you up. Maybe it'll surprise you. Now, Eric, we start with you.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Which two Vikings, if you had a choice and you didn't have to worry about salaries, you didn't have to worry about anything else, if you could take two Vikings and put them on the Packers, and you could take two Packers and put them on the Vikings, what would that trade be? What would Eric's fantasy trade be between the Packers and the Vikings to make your team better and make the Packers team worse?
So it doesn't have to be a fair trade.
No,
At all.
not at all. This is your fantasy here.
Well, I already know what he's going to say.
I have no clue what he's going to say.
Well,
I mean, Devontae Adams. He wants Devontae Adams.
He loves
No.
Devontae Adams.
no, I don't.
He doesn't need Devontae Adams. He's got freaking Thielen and Jefferson.
Well, I think
He'll take Robert Tonyan because he needs a tight end.
this is a hard
Yeah,
decision.
he's thinking Robert Tonyan.
It's a hard one.
Okay. So well, this will be fairly reasonably fair. Well, maybe. So yeah. So okay, well, no salaries, they don't matter.
Nope.
Okay. So the Vikings this week, they elevated Sean Mannion to be the backup quarterback. So I would trade him because he's terrible. For Aaron Rodgers. I'd do that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's no shocker, right? I mean, come on.
Okay.
And Kirk can be backup, and that's fine. And then I guess the other one, I'd probably would want Jair is who I'd want. I think, and I think that's who Zimmer would want to. And then I don't know. You can have somebody bad. I don't care. I mean, who do I really? So they cut Dakota Dozier, but then re-signed with the practice squad. So maybe we'll give you Dakota Dozier because he's probably the worst guard in football. So that would make me happy because then maybe you guys would play him by necessity.
They might.
We need some. Yeah.
That would be. He's like the worst pass blocker I've ever seen.
Wow. That's saying something. I should have prefaced it. It made it like starters at least, or guys that play.
Oh, come on. What the hell?
Sorry,
Sorry,
my bad.
I went with my fantasy because I just want Dakota Dozier
Yeah.
to be so far away from the team that he would never ever be elevated from the practice squad.
Well, there you go.
I mean, there's
Maybe-
video, like you guys have videos of Zarius Smith. There's videos of Dakota Dozier literally like standing the wrong direction during a play and blocking no one. I mean, he's like the term turnstile. I mean, that is like literally him. Like it's terrible.
Wow.
So that's what I would say.
Line him up next to Billy Turner. It could only be good things. Ben, all right, what two Vikings do you wish were on the Packers?
Eric Kendricks, number one. Because if there's one thing the Packers have never had is a playmaking, smart, inside linebacker who's able to play the run, play the pass, get in passing lanes, pick off the ball, cause turnovers, be just a pain in the butt. We haven't had a guy like that since maybe Desmond Bishop was sort of that. But that's been a long time. So I'll take him number one. Number two, I take Daniil Hunter because I think he's a freak of nature, monster pass rush specialist, destroy a bunch of dudes.
Put him out there with Gary. Holy crap.
So that's what I'd take, those two guys. And the two guys the Vikings get would be Zadarius Smith and Billy Turner. Those are the two guys the Vikings get.
Starters.
And they can start. And then we'll see how good the Packers are and how crappy the Vikings are. And there you go.
All right, Eric, we'll give it to you again because I screwed up the way I asked you.
Okay.
So what two
starters.
Packers do you wish were on the Vikings?
And I said, well,
You said there already. Aaron Rodgers and Jair Alexander.
Aaron Rodgers and Jair, you're sticking with that? Okay.
I would. Yep.
All right.
I would.
All right. Which two Vikings do you wish were on the Packers?
So
Come on.
I think I actually might say Anthony Barr.
He wouldn't last. The Packer fans would string him up.
Well, there would be that entertainment value, but then also, but with Rodgers and the other team, maybe they wouldn't care anymore. But he has kind of like what all you guys are talking about was Zadarius. He just disappears sometimes, right? He's super gifted and can really make some really good plays, but then there's times where and even Zimmer called him out. He said he coasts sometimes. He's coasts. I'm like, how can you just coast? He's got he's the one with the dot in his helmet. It's like supposed to run the defense, and he's, now he's a captain, and I don't get it. Doesn't play hurt. Like I don't know. He's just that'd be one, and then and starters. Well, I guess if we're getting Roger, I'd probably just give you Cousins because there's so much, like, he's so polarizing. There's people who defend him, people that just hate him. I think, some problems with some people is that they're paying him to be like a play extending quarterback, right? He's getting that kind of money, and he's not that guy, right? He's a pocket. He's more in the vein of Tom Brady, he's not Tom Brady, but he's where he's a pocket passer. He's not going to run all over the place, and but the thing is that even Brady has that pocket presence that he seems to lack sometimes, and what have you. But I think because of his contract, people are just put off by him, and even some of his teammates are sometimes too. It's just he's wound so tight, right? He doesn't even really celebrate after touchdowns. Sometimes he he'll go congratulate his teammate, but he doesn't like get all pumped up. I mean, I don't want him to do like a Favre thing, but it looks like, are you even enjoying yourself out there? Like, it's okay to, I think, ride that wave a little bit. I know you want to stay even keel as a quarterback, but I mean, he just kind of walks over the sideline like that's what was supposed to happen. So, doesn't make it that fun to watch.
Barry Sanders did that for years, man.
You want more of that? You like that? You like that?
Well, I mean,
maybe he used it all up on you like that. He's got nothing left after.
Well, you need that, like, a little bit of fire from the leader on your team, right? I thought that Barry Sanders was more of a class act, like, I've been here before. I'm going to flip it to the ref and move on with my day, but what he did was super exciting, though, right? And everyone knew that. I think the fact that he was so humble made it cool. I mean, Barry Sanders is probably one of my favorite players, but that's obviously a non-Viking player. But
wow,
yeah, I mean, he was so fun. He's so fun to watch.
Yeah, it was super.
And
crazy.
He was terrifying to watch when he was playing against your team. You're like, we need all 11 guys over there because that he's so slippery. He was amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point, Ben. But I think from your leader and your quarterback, you just like to see a little bit of fire, like a little bit of, ride that positive wave, and you get so. Yeah, so Cousins and Barr. That's who I trade back.
All right. If you guys in the chat, anybody's still around, you can put yours in there too. I'll ask the same question to you. Which two Vikings do you wish were on the Packers? Which two Packers do you wish were on the Vikings? For me,
that'd be one. I'll tell you, that'd be a great trade. My trade.
For me, I've got this. I wish. Number one, who's your partner, by the way?
You know what? I don't know if I even know his name. They just signed him.
Christ, if he's any good, I would take him. But
anyway, we got a new punter who's supposed to be good.
All right, hopefully he's fine. All right, so
Quit was the old one. I can't remember what the new one is.
And Mitch Berger, is he still around? Maybe I think.
No, they should give him a call though.
Mitch Dick Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I would say number one for me is Kenny King. The Vikings, you can have
I forgot about him.
Kevin King, number one, have him because you probably start him, and that would be good for the Packers.
Jordan Berry, that's the name of the Vikings punter. Jordan Berry.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just stick with this Borges guy or whoever we just got. We just got some guy because
you got Bajorges.
Yeah,
Bajorges.
The Packers and punters, it's been really bad for a long, long time here. It's really bad. And then the other guy, the Vikings could have. That's a tough one because the Ben had some good candidates there.
Good candidates. The best candidates.
They are, but like Kevin King too. I'm just thinking, oh God. You know what? I don't think so. I would say Billy Turner too, because he's just so bad.
Yeah, Billy Turner.
Bad. So Billy Turner and Kevin King, who the Vikings would have for me, the Packers, who I would like Adam Thielen because we don't have a receiver like that. And I think the Packers need an upgrade at receiver. They have a lot of guys that are kind of similar, not similar in their skills, but similar in their talent level and their effectiveness. And so to have another like good, solid season guy, Adam Thielen, give me him. And then I want it all here. I want Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, two-headed backfield,
Oh my
two
God.
backs all the time.
You know what? You don't make any sense. You just don't want to admit that mine is the right answer.
And I wanted to
Why
wear
would you want to have Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones?
No,
and
I wanted to
AJ
both wear
Dillon
33. 33
and Kylan Hill?
32.
Everybody's saying Kylan Hill is the second coming of Dalvin Cook, or apparently they're all gushing over Kylan Hill.
What if
You're
you
gonna
had
have four
Dalvin Cook?
awesome running backs? You're going to have 7 wide receivers on your team? Who's going to play linebacker for you?
I already said I got him.
He's like yelling at you.
Oh wait, maybe
Well, it's the dumbest thing I ever
Kendrick's-
heard. We're not talking about a team, some magic. There's one football. I filled holes on the Packers. I got us a top-notch Pro Bowl linebacker, and I got us a top-notch pass rusher, and got rid of a freaking slacker, and I got rid of our weakest offensive lineman who everybody thinks is good. We can put anybody there. Boom. I made us better. You're getting another guy to take snaps away from Aaron Jones? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Would you let me finish? I want Jones and Cook on the field at all times, and I want them both to be wearing number 33. And it'll be so confusing for the defense. It'll be the magical offense. We don't even need anybody that blocks. Nobody that blocks, doesn't matter because those guys are so good. And they're both 33. Everybody be confused. Dominant. Jones and Cook.
I think they would know that Cook has all these dreads coming out of the back of his helmet, so I think they'd be able to tell the difference.
So does
Or
Aaron
he'd have to
Jones.
cut his hair. Oh, does he?
Aaron
Oh,
Jones, he keeps growing his hair. So they're the same.
Okay.
They're the same.
All right. Okay.
Until you see him run. And then
Dalvin Cook would just wear number 3.
Aaron Jones
just get
cuts
a
off
nude number.
his wrong foot, like we talked about last week, which throws everybody off. He cuts off his inside leg instead of his outside leg. It's like the craziest thing ever, and nobody knows how to do it, and guys don't know how to deal with it. So, and then Dalvin Cook runs like your more traditional
You
style.
know what? I changed my answer.
There you go.
I
You
changed
come
my
around.
answer.
Dalvin Cook.
I want to trade Zadarius Smith and Aaron Jones to the Vikings. And I'll take Dalvin Cook to the Packers. And then I'm going to be a Vikings fan. And I'll still cheer. No, I don't want Zadarius Smith. I'm going to trade Aaron Jones to the Vikings and Jair Alexander. Aaron Jones, Jair to the Vikings.
Why do you want to help the Vikings? It's not supposed to be the
Because.
exercise.
And then Dalvin Cook can come to the Packers. Because here's why. Because I want to have people see what it looks like when Dalvin Cook has to run behind an offensive line that can't run block. Then we'll see how good he is. And then you watch Aaron Jones on turf with a good run blocking offensive line. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Look out.
We'll get a lot of carries too.
Hell yeah.
Well, when I thought of that question at like 4 a.m. last night or this morning, I thought there might be some good answers from it. Mine wasn't a good answer, but at least we got you guys fired up. And Eric and Ben had some very thoughtful answers. All right, Eric, who do the Vikings play in the first game?
The Cincinnati Bengals in
Ooh, the Bengals.
Ohio. Yes.
Okay, are you
Joe
worried?
Burrow is back.
How are you feeling about that? Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that they really need to win. Their schedule, they have 2 road games to start the season and then 3 home games. So, but their home games are against good teams like Cleveland and Seattle and things. So it's really a road game they need to win. Joe Burrow is coming off his injury. He looked good at times last year as for a rookie. They had lots of weapons. I mean, Higgins and Boyd and now the rookie Chase. So they have like 3 receivers that are supposed to be, good. Joe Mixon's a good back. So they have some things on offense, but their offensive line's kind of iffy. So I'm hoping that this new defensive line can put some pressure on the young quarterback. I think Zimmer will want to blitz a lot. Zimmer is going to be calling the defensive plays again this year. And then offensively, they don't, on defense they have a couple of good players, right? Bates is a good safety. And then they got that Hendrickson from the Saints, who might be a one-year wonder kind of a thing with the sacks. You might have different thoughts on that, Jason.
They have one other good player, Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels was a really good player. I mean, he's obviously tail end of his career. I've always liked Mike Daniels, actually. It's too bad he was a Packer for so long, but because he was a good player and he was really funny and pretty well spoken too. So
now, did you like him more with his football or the fact that he was a nerd and liked all these nerdy things like anime and all that stuff and talked about it all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the whole package.
Okay.
I mean, he was a really good player. He was. I thought he played well. So I didn't.
Except there's one guy on the team who didn't like him, Aaron Rodgers. And Clay
Oh.
Matthews didn't like him, and that's why the Packers let him go because their two divas didn't like him.
They don't care about what their players think. They've already told you that many times.
Then why did they cut
Oh.
Mike Daniels?
Because Mike Daniels was too loud, and a lot of people it turned off. They want
That's
quiet,
right.
They
They
want
didn't
quiet
like him.
leaders, not just those guys. A lot of people.
And now they
want
haven't had a leader since.
quiet. I know it's true. They've lacked leadership, and instead they get these dudes that
Okay, I interrupted.
puff
Paul.
on the doobies a lot and are way too relaxed. And I mean, let's be honest. Come on, Z smokes a lot of weed, dude. You know that.
So does Aaron Jones.
Yeah, that's
Or he
true.
did, anyways. His
Yeah.
rookie year.
He still does, but he just
Probably,
doesn't
yeah.
get caught anymore. All right, Mo, continue on.
He probably forgot what he was talking about.
Oh.
I forgot what he was
Oh.
talking about.
Well, the Bengal game. So I
Oh
think,
yeah. Nobody cares. Okay, yeah, yep.
yeah.
Vikings Bengals.
Favored by
That's
3.5.
probably what, on all the games of the week. Vikings Bengals. Yeah, way down here. Sorry, Mo.
No, it's okay. It's not really one of those.
So they should
eye-popping
win.
games.
They
They
should
really
win.
should.
Okay.
I think that they will. Obviously, I hope that they do. But it's just that first game of the season, you never really know. There's that kind of unknown how are things going to unfold. So, but hopefully they do.
All right, we'll see. Ben, the Packers play the Saints in Jacksonville, Florida, which I don't like.
I don't like it.
It sucks. They always suck at playing in the heat, especially early in the season. I don't like it at all. But
And none of them have played any games yet.
you got to
So that doesn't
figure.
help.
Got to be some chances to get some picks though against Jamie Winston and all that, right?
I guess somebody went through his interceptions before that 1 year where he threw 30 and he only threw like 15 was like his highest. So he wasn't like a big interception guy until Bruce Arians was like, throw it deep and throw it into triple coverage. What the hell? And then he started
15's
throwing
still
it.
a lot though. 15 is still a lot.
Well,
this day and age.
yeah, for Aaron Rodgers, it's a lot, but for like, take a look at some of the other guys.
True.
I mean,
Breeze
not-
was
I don't think
usually
he's-
around that.
yeah, I don't think he's as bad as everybody claims he was. He also is one of the only, there's only 5 players or something, or 4 players that have thrown for 5,000 yards. And James Winston is one of them.
Well, that'll probably
So-
change the next game now. But
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be probably like
Still.
100 of them now. But I mean, apparently Drew Brees has done it like 5 times.
Yeah.
So it's like Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, and that's like, and like maybe Tom Brady that 1 year when he had Randy Moss, and then like somebody else. I don't know who, probably Peyton Manning, or I don't know. But
Holy
whatever.
crap. We stayed on long enough. Blas just came on. Blas came on for the morning show. How you doing, Blas?
Yeah, good morning.
You know who's doing 5,000 this year? Dak.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's right. It's a great trade.
When you
He's
throw the
gonna-
ball 70 times a game, yeah, you're
Ooh,
gonna.
he's gonna average.
Couldn't have believed the attempts. It's crazy.
It's McCarthy
believe-
magic.
Oh, McCarthy.
I couldn't believe how many times I saw my running back picking up the blitz. It was amazing. I wish there was a fantasy stat. For picking
Bruce
up the
was
blitz.
so pissed. He was on some different social posts I saw. He was making comments about. He's like, McCarthy refuses to run the ball. So remember that whole time, everybody thought Aaron Rodgers was the one calling out a pass play or calling out a run plays and calling more pass plays, and it was all him. That's why they
McCarthy's
passed
not
him.
calling the plays anymore.
Who's calling?
Kellen-
Oh yeah,
Kellen Moore. or whatever
Yeah,
his
yeah.
name is.
But
I
he's a
remember a press
disciple.
conference that McCarthy had when he was with the Packers. You guys probably recall this, but I remember because I think there was an injury to running back or something, and he said like, "Well, I decided that I have a Pro Bowl quarterback. I'm just going to march him out there and have him win the game for us." So that's what I did.
McCarthy had a lot
obviously
of
what he's done his whole career.
he's had a lot of good coaching points, like
No.
when your one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fundamentals. We gotta re-emphasize. We don't change what we're doing. We just re-emphasize and work on, what we want the players to do better. So we're not going to adjust. Right, Ben? What was it? Re-emphasize and something else. He had like something he always said all the time. Fundamentals of football.
I know there was one game where I saw McCarthy come up with an offensive
Same
plan that was specifically designed against the defense they played, and it was a genius play or a genius design. And that was, I don't know, maybe it was 2011. It was sometime early on when Rodgers was the quarterback, and they played the Ravens. And every play they ran was designed to the outside of the field. I don't think they even ran the ball maybe 5 times the whole game, but every pass was to the outside, pass to the outside. They took Ray Lewis out of the game, and he got so frustrated because he had like no tackles because he was the middle linebacker, right? And they never ran the ball, and they never passed it in the middle. And the strength of the Ravens defense that year was their big guys up front, and then Ray Lewis being free to run around and make plays. And they just never had the ball anywhere near Ray Lewis. And they won the game. And after the game, Ray Lewis was like, I never had a game like this in my life where I couldn't get to the ball. Like, I just couldn't get there. It never mattered. I never mattered. He's like, it's disappointing to be in a game like this. And I was like, wow. And that was when I thought McCarthy was good. And then he never did. He never designed an offense against the defense like that ever again. So I don't understand it, but it was a genius move. And it was cool to watch that game. I still remember it because I was like, wow, this is awesome. You know, and then when Ray Lewis said something about after the game, I was like, wow, they really did. That was when I first started realizing like football can be really awesome. Like just you don't have to just run the same plays all the time. Like you can scheme up against a certain team and it becomes like it's almost like a board game or like a nerd game. Like you're like figuring stuff out and blah, blah, blah. And that really got me interested more than I normally was because I was always a Packer fan, but I knew what was going on. Like I knew the basic terms and crap, but I never really like paid attention to play. Like, I don't know, like what the heck is this and why is this working? And that was when I started like watching games and looking for keys as to like, what are they attacking a weakness? Did they find a weakness? And then I started studying, well, what is the Packers' weakness here? And that was when I really got more into football and be like, yeah, this is cool. And that's why I get so excited with players and teams that do cool stuff. That's why, like I always say, Bill Belichick is freaking awesome, man. Tom Brady is freaking cool. He knows where to attack and where not to attack. As much as everybody hates him, he's not a ding dong. So, but that's all cool stuff. And I just wish that LaFleur would do that more. And I think they're starting to do that. But I still want to see where he designs specific plays for specific players to do things instead of just letting Rodgers throw to Devontae Adams all the goddamn time.
It does feel like teams don't do that enough, right? I mean, you go into games, you get the injury report. I remember one game, like all the corners were like out. They had like 3 corners, like go 4 wide, 5 wide, like the whole game. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They'll have to put a linebacker on a receiver. I mean, just why wouldn't you exploit something like that? And I feel like and then you don't see it at all. Like you're just going to run your same offense. Like why not attack their weakest point? Like it seems a little elementary, but it just doesn't seem to happen as much. I don't get it.
There's a really cool video out talking about like a couple years back when the Patriots played the Rams in the Super Bowl. And it talks about what the Patriots did on defense. Because that year the Rams were like the top scoring offense in the whole league, right? They get to the Super Bowl and they couldn't score any freaking points. Now the Patriots couldn't score either. So it was like a really low, remember it was like 10-3 or whatever the heck the end of that score was. But like they went and like really dissected everything that the Patriots did and what Bill Belichick came up with to stop them. And it was like, duh, it was genius moves. It like took away everything that McVay was planning, you know?
Yep.
And it's just the kind of stuff that, God, I would love to have a coach like that. Because it's so cool to watch a game and then like it could be something totally different every week, right? You don't know what's going to happen because you just attack the weakness of the other team, and you what's the point of having all these guys on your team, like your coaching staff, and you're like, don't you have like video guys who watch and study, right? Like the players always say they study opponents, right? Like don't they like? Obviously Belichick does it, but like shouldn't more guys do that where you study your opponent, like find out, okay, like this guy stinks. Like if I was going up against the Packers defense, I would run the ball to Darius Smith all day. Every play would be, where's the Darius Smith? Okay, we're going to the right. He's over there. We're going that way. Well, he's over here now. We're running this way. Because he don't know where it's coming. He don't care. I wouldn't even block him half the time. He doesn't know. He's going to go to the quarterback.
I think you'd have to block him.
Okay, maybe block him. But you know what I'm saying? Put a wide receiver on him. Apparently Robert Woods is good enough to do it. All right, back to you.
All right. The main point.
Yeah, Darius Smith really is going to hate me after this show if anybody sees this.
That's right. He was already never allowed on this show. So even if he ever wanted to come on, he didn't want to come on, but now he really doesn't. But he wasn't allowed anyway. But the main point that you guys talked too long to cover all up was that Ben's true love for football and analyzing. He used to love Packers, but what made him want to really get into football more was Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. That's really scary. That one game against the Ravens, it was awesome. I'll never forget that. For as long as I live, I was like, dang, they are not running the ball one time.
It's a smart move. Wish the Packers
Every
would
pass
do.
is to the outside. Every
Yep.
single pass. I was like, what the hell? Do you remember that game, Jace?
I sort now you brought it up. I remember, that about it. I remember it being so different.
I
And
think it was right after the Ravens won the Super Bowl or something. I don't know what year that was. But
Yeah. Then unfortunately the Packers decided to do that all the time, and it was like, no, you can attack the middle of the field against all these other teams. What the hell are you doing? Like,
yeah.
run guys up the middle. It's easier throw, but no, we're gonna make it hard on everything. But anyway, beside the point. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. Eric, congratulations to you.
We got to do the scores.
Oh, the scores. All right. But we got final scores coming out. Balazs final score coming in. All right. I'll go first. I'm gonna say
We got to do Vikings score too.
Vikings
Vikings
first.
Bengals.
All right. I'm gonna do Packers first. I'll do Vikings last. I'm gonna say Packers 30, Saints 24, and then Vikings 16, Bengals 13. Vikings get a win.
Okay.
Oh. All right. Mo, you're next. I'm last because I'm the best.
All right. So
Also, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Well, seeing that Thursday night game made me think that, it seems like offenses tend to be a little behind early, but maybe that won't be the case here. But Saints still have some decent players, but they kind of got thin in the secondary. So I'll say Packers 31 and the Saints 27. So Packers will win. And I'll go with the Vikings. I'll say 24-17. They win.
Whoa. All right, here we go.
Rick's got in here.
Oh,
He
Rick,
says
let's
Packers 34-24 victory, and says Vikings lose
Nice.
27-13.
13.
27-13. And Josh George is on the Packers at 24-14 victory for the Pack. All right. Josh, you got to, maybe he doesn't even care about the Vikings. That's fine, but you should give a score. Just say they'll lose. That's better. Ben?
All right, Packers are going to win 27. Actually, maybe they won't even get that. I'll take that back. Packers are going to win.
Hold on. Balazs jumped in here.
Oh, what do you say?
Worried Saints will score more. He's worried about our Packers D. He says it'll be Saints 36, Packers 24. Balazs.
Oh.
Don't say that, Balazs.
Don't say
Believe in the Pack.
Okay. Gotta believe.
Wow. Josh George says the Bengals are going to score 2 points. Then Vikings will score 10. The Bengals score 2.
That's good.
I don't know about that one.
All right, Ben.
That means the Bengals defense would have to actually get a safety, and I don't think that's going to happen. So, I mean, the Vikings might get a safety. I'm going to say Packers are going to score 20 points. That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
Because I think their offensive line is going to be a problem. I think they're going to be in trouble in the heat. I think there's going to have a lot of drives that are going to stall out. So I think it's going to be 20-17 or something like that. Packers win, but barely squeak it out.
Wow.
Saints D line is not bad.
So, and then the Vikings, I think, are going to steamroll the Bengals. It's going to be like 28. They're going to score 4 touchdowns. 28 to like 13.
I'll take that.
They're going to cream them.
Dang. All right.
I hope so.
That's going to happen.
Well, there you have it. Put money down on it. Josh revises, says 13-6. Vikings win. Instead of 10-2, 13-6.
10-2 sounds more interesting.
I mean, I could see Kirk Cousins, getting sacked in the end zone. I mean, it happened last year in game 1.
Yeah.
We all know. We saw that. Jair.
It's true.
Yeah.
We remember after that game,
He
we
wasn't
were
even
all
supposed
excited.
to blitz. Yeah.
Yeah, we all were all excited, but like, oh my God, look at this year. Matt Pettin's going crazy. He's setting corner blitzes. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then after the game, we found out that Jair was like, I don't know. I saw Thielen move in motion, and I thought he was supposed to block me. So I just went in there to stop the run, and it wasn't a run. So I just kept going. And I'm like, what? Pettin didn't even call that blitz? And then the rest of the year, we never saw a safety blitz, or once in a while we saw a safety blitz. We never saw a corner blitz ever again. Well.
Saw some safety blitzes in the NFC Championship game when they started getting picks.
And then what happened?
Got a bunch of picks.
Got some picks because they sent the blitz. Yeah, gee, whatever. All right, we've been doing this for 2 hours.
Oh my God. All right. Blast says 17-10 Vikings. So most people think your Vikings will win, Eric.
Okay.
There you go. See, friendly show to Viking fans.
Yeah, there you go. When
All
do the
right.
Vikings play? Noon?
Yeah. Yep. Right before the Packers.
Woo.
Good. I can watch the Packers then.
You can watch both, Ben.
There you
Well,
go.
I got to work until 2.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll watch the end of the Vikings, but I'll watch the Packers after. Actually, I might not because I got to charge my phone and make sure I get my free phone football. I don't have TV.
You don't have TV.
No. Did I tell you about that? We should end the show. But
Jesus. Okay.
anyways, I got YouTube TV because
All
they
right.
were promoting it. They were like, get YouTube TV and watch the NBA Finals. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Get YouTube TV for free for 2 weeks and watch the NBA Finals. And I was like, awesome. So I signed up, right? Got 2 weeks free. Well, I didn't know that the freaking NBA Finals was going to give you like 3 days between each game. So I only got to watch the first 5 games. And for me to watch the clinching game 6, then I had to pay $70 just to get the last game, which I did because I wanted to watch game 6 because they won. And then the Bucks were NBA champs. What do you think about that, Mo? You haven't been on the shows to be talking about the Bucks being NBA champs. That's pretty awesome.
It is. I think we talked. Oh, we talked about it during a different Zoom call. Yeah, but yeah, I'm happy for you guys. I think that's awesome. I think first one in the modern era, right, for the Bucks. So that's exciting. I can only pray for a similar experience with the Timberwolves. And I know some of that year they had Garnett and Sam SSL.
That'll never get it done.
That was the deepest run they had. They made the conference finals, but that was really fun. And so I'm sure it was really fun for you guys. And, the Greek Freak's a pretty cool dude. And
he's
awesome. Yeah.
So great.
You like to see someone like that win and a team like that win. So I thought it was pretty cool.
That's all you got to do is draft some skinny kid that nobody knows about, and then who wants to work hard and doesn't want to leave your city, and then you can win an NBA championship too.
Oh, wait. Josh wants fantasy predictions.
Fantasy? Oh my gosh.
Here, I'm going to pull them up. I'll pull them up. We'll tell them to talk. We just quick hits. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose?
Who's going to win, or which are the top players that start? Because I don't know. None of them are on my
Who's going to
team.
win? What team's going to win? What team's going to lose?
Like in our league?
Yeah.
Hafeman Bros Fantasy Football League?
Hafeman Bros. Hafeman Bros. Here it is. Here we go. Here's the matchups. Are you ready?
Are you sharing it? Or are you just looking at it?
I'm not sharing. I'm just looking at my phone.
All right.
I'll just tell you. You just tell me what you think. Why is
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. No.
I'm sorry. This was new to our show. And we
all right. So we got Ben's Bandits versus the Agents of Chaos. I'm currently losing 13 to 5.1. I am expected to lose. So what do you say? Am I going to win or lose? I'm going to win. Sorry. There you go.
He's not going to win.
All right. Awesome. Then we got Jason's Jokers versus Turtle Heads, which is a terrible name. Jason's Jokers already got 35.22 points because of Dak Prescott. He is predicted. He's predicted to win. I think he will win. What do you think?
Win by like 40 points.
Then we got the sneak attack. Mama's is going to knock you out.
Woo!
Drafted all Packers, but little did she know that her player that was drafted because he's being coached by a former Packer coach would score her 33 points in the first game. However, even that happened, she still picked to lose to Nick McFarland's notable team because he never changed his name and they just gave him the random stupid Yahoo name. But she needs to change that. But at this point, Nick's supposed to beat Mom. What do you think? She is starting AJ Dillon.
Probably.
Sorry, Mom. Don't get
And
mad.
Tanya and Rogers.
Well, I mean, somebody's going to score some points.
All right, here we go. I finally got there. Sorry, I was.
Okay.
All right. Look at Dak Prescott.
Look at
Pick
he's
number
just
1.
sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah, he scored you 35 points. It's kind of dumb.
All right. Turtle heads are going down. All right. Oh my. How does poor mental, 80% mental, 40% physical.
Yeah, he lost
Why
point.
you
He
get
lost
so-
points on Ronald Jones.
You are the luckiest guy, Mo.
You are
You
so
go against
lucky.
guys, they have like their worst game against you. Like it's kind of stupid. And I go against people and they have like their greatest game of all time. I'm like, what? Why?
Tom Brady got me 36 points. Ronald
Wow.
Jones lost points.
Jeez.
I
Terrible.
should have 10 more points just from picking up the blitz.
All right. Cabooters is off to a rough start. Oh, we got Hop around. Is that is that 0? Did he change his name?
He must have.
That's 0. Okay. Changed to Hop around, trying to throw us off here. Or he hated the way he started, so he changed the name. I don't remember. But Cabooters, I think he's got him there. Got a chance.
Got a chance.
Nicho's, Mama's going to knock you out. Still think Nico might come back. This is the way in Long Tooth's Decay. Did we talk about that one yet?
No.
How are we feeling about that one?
Well, I don't know what the team. I'm guessing
You want to see it, huh? All
Long
right.
Tooth Decay was like your auto draft team, and they got a crazy team, so they're probably going to win.
Yeah,
Adam?
Kyler Murray
Adam's taking it over here.
But,
and Dalvin Cook.
I mean, Browner's got Mahomes and
Mahomes, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. I mean, and George Kittle.
Pretty good.
Mm.
He's
This
got
is
two tight end. He's got a 2 tight end offense.
This is a kind of a toss-up, but I mean, Dalvin Cook and Kyler Murray and Tyler Lockett and this is good teams. I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes over Kyler Murray. That's it. I'll go with Browner. I don't care if the predicted points are way off. Oh, wait a minute. His defense is good. What's with his defensive guys? How do they have no points?
I don't know. He
Expected.
picks some terrible defensive guys. He needs to adjust that.
Okay, well, I guess unless he doesn't, you better find some new defensive guys before Sunday, or else I'm picking. I guess I changed my mind. I'll take Long Tooth Decay.
All right. I'm disappointed by Devin White's performance, but I still think Long Tooth's Decay will win this one. Sorry. Andrew starts out with a loss. Mama's going to knock you out. I think she fires up here and gets.
She ain't gonna get Nico. Look at Nico's team.
Come on now.
It's stupid. He got McCaffrey, Jefferson. Odell Beckham Jr. is
even
gonna
though
be
Cooper,
good.
Yeah, Cooper had a great game, but I don't know. She's going to give up too many points here with all these Packers. And I hate to say it, but Micah Hyde's he's smart, but he's not going to get enough points. You got to change him out.
She got TJ Watt. She's got your 2 favorite defensive players you talk about constantly.
TJ Watt, he might have.
She does listen to our
He
show.
might have 10 sacks. He might have 10 sacks in his
This
game.
just
and
proved
then
that
win.
mom listens to our show.
All right, that's a toss up for me. I can't. I don't know. Well,
Got
Mama's
Calvin
gonna knock
Ridley,
you out.
too.
It's Mom's first ever fantasy football matchup.
That's
For her to
awesome.
win it would be great.
Good luck, Mom.
That's right. Oh no, Agents of Chaos. That's hop around must be Josh. Okay, I got it now. I'm on board. All right. Josh got a chance against Rick, although Rick's got a strong start. I'm gonna have to take Rick on that one. Sorry, Josh. I know you're on here. I'm gonna say 0 and Ben.
Ben always loses game 1.
Look at my defensive players once.
True.
He
It's
always
true.
loses game 1.
That's going to be
Here's-
the secret weapon.
Let's
My
see here.
defensive players. Look at
Kendricks and Adams.
them. Just
True.
wait. I'm going to get 20 points from both those guys.
And
That's a lot of
Elliot
tackles.
Because
really,
they're only predicting 9 and 7, but watch, they'll both get 20 points.
Zeke.
and he only got 3 from Jalen Smith. And Zeke really let you down though.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It's gonna be a close one, but I think Ben might actually break his streak and win this one.
Plus, I got Herbert. I got all those running backs. I got Gibson and Montgomery yet. And Callaway against the Packers secondary. Hello.
All right, you got to make a trade with Rick though.
I do. I have no receivers.
And Mo gets the luckiest stuff again, so he's gonna win. Purple Rain will probably win.
Yeah,
God,
good.
one
Look how
fumble
good that
loss.
team is.
What the hell?
You got Thielen and Hopkins and Josh Allen. I mean,
What did he get? 2 carries and he fumbled on one of them. What the? Come on, man.
It's crazy.
Yuck. All right, Purple Rain wins that one, and nothing against you, Mo. I just yucked on that play by Ronald Jones. And let's see, me. Will I beat Turtleheads? He's got Matt Stafford. Yeah,
He's
probably.
got no defense.
He's got to plug in some defensive guys. You got to get him going here.
Eckes has got too many leagues. He doesn't even know what he's doing here. He's got to get some.
He'll
defense.
turn it around. He'll turn it around.
Yeah, I
Did
know.
he draft any defensive players?
No,
he didn't.
I think he left.
He left and auto drafted, even though
Yeah.
the rules are
Oh.
clearly stated that they need defensive players.
No,
Apparently,
it didn't
auto-draft
fill his
doesn't
team.
know
Brent,
that.
huh?
There was a question by 80% physical, 40% mental, or whatever it was. He said, "Okay, we know we had to draft a Packer, but they need to keep the Packer on the roster, or could they cut that player?" The rule was that you had to draft a Packer. And I
Oh,
said, "I don't
drafted
care
a Packer.
I don't care if you cut him. That's fine."
Yeah,
I
your
know you
first
did,
pick
by
was
the
a
way.
Packer.
Yeah.
That's weird. A Vikings fan's first pick is a Packer.
Yeah,
Devontae
well,
Adams, he's probably gonna have a pretty good year.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
He's not going to have a year like he had last year. Aaron Rodgers has got to feed everybody. He's got to feed
I
his
know,
good
but
buddy.
He's gonna
Randall
demand.
Cobb.
he's
He's
gonna
got to feed his
demand the
good
ball.
buddy. Mercedes Lewis. I think Devontae's numbers are going way down, and his money in the offseason is going to go way down. He's going to be so sad and mad, and it's going to cause a rift in the team. He's a captain on the team, and he's not going to be getting all the targets like he did last year. He's going to start being disgruntled and cause problems.
who else are they going to throw to?
MVS, the speed monster, Alan Lazard, sure-handed. Randall Cobb, sneak attack, little smart guy who knows what's up. Amari Rogers, who knows what's going on. Robert Tunyon, the sneak attack, awesome tight end who catches all the touchdowns. And of course, I don't know, maybe the number one awesomest weapon in the history of all NFL, Aaron Jones. He can throw him the ball. He can line it up at wide receiver and catch it out there. He can catch it out of the backfield. He can do it all. And AJ Dillon can actually catch too. I bet you didn't know that, did you, Mo?
No, I just
250 pounds.
he just has
bigger
big legs.
than
I
Yannick
thought.
Ngakoue, who's now a Raider, and Eric Dahl has to deal with the fact that his outside or his defensive end is smaller than the Packers starting or backup halfback. But that's okay.
This show's way too long. Robert Tunyon eats a lot of Funyuns.
Yeah.
Right, Ben? That's how we remember to say his name right, because you brought up Funyuns.
Well, we said it wrong for a good couple of
I
weeks.
know,
there.
everybody
Sorry,
did.
We still.
Why would
I
you be
still-
too polite to correct people who are saying your name wrong? Come on, man. Just
I
speak.
wouldn't. I'd be. You know how many
Just
people
like,
call.
dude.
You know how it is. People always be like Hafeman. I'm like, are you stupid? Are you stupid?
I mean, if you made it,
How do you spell half? Half. How do you spell Hafe? Hafeman. How do you say when somebody is in a safe place? You say somebody's in a safe place? No, it's spelled safe. It's pronounced safe. It's spelled Hafe. It's pronounced Hafe. Dum dums. God, people are stupid.
the E makes the A say its name, right? Isn't that the rule?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something
But
like that.
I mean,
sounds right.
Either way, if I made it to the freaking NFL, I wouldn't let people say my name wrong for 2
No
years.
kidding.
3 years. Like,
Yeah.
dude, it's pronounced this way. Sorry.
unless your name is Yannick Ngakoue or Yannick Ngakoue, then you can say
Yeah,
your name
that's
wrong.
true.
Right.
Nobody knows how to say it except for Mo.
Or Terrell Owens or Terrell. Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Well,
changed
see,
that.
the Packers. That's the
I was
thing.
just
is the
saying they were
Packers-
like
Leroy Butler
yeah.
turned into
Leroy.
Leroy Butler, and I don't know if it just was like he didn't want to be called Leroy because it sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
There's a town just down the road from here called Leroy, and I just laugh every time I hear it because I'm just like Leroy.
Oh my god.
There's another
Josh,
one that's there's a
quick
town called
point.
Dover and a town called Iota,
Yeah,
Yeah, I know Iota.
I like
and
that
they just turn it into one because it's the school district is one, so they're like Dover Yoda, and I'm just like
one.
sounds weird to me every time I hear it. I'm like Dover Yoda, but it's Dover Iota. or
Iota.
something.
Yep.
And I just call it Dover Yoda.
So Josh, you got an A- draft. It's a long season, man.
I gotta
Just
see.
remember, 1 week at a time, long season. So don't just hang in there, man. Hang in there. All right. It's a really long show, but we logged some minutes for YouTube to help ourselves out. Thank you for the couple of you that hung on most of the time or even checked it out for a little bit of time. We appreciate it. Mikey Mo, we know you're not going to be on for a very long time, so we had to extend your hours this evening.
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's always fun. I have a
We
good
wish
time,
your
but
Vikings. We wish your Vikings well.
Thanks. Yeah, but my Friday nights I'll be officiating some high school football, so
Hey,
missing some shows.
I've been hearing about all these officials getting out of the NFL. Is there any chance for you, like working your way up the ranks? Could use some better officials in the NFL, Eric.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It doesn't really, they pull from the D1 ranks, obviously. So, you
How
got
do
to be
you
doing.
how do
Go
you
ahead.
get up? How do you advance? Like, what is it
Yeah, I
like?
mean, you kind of got to get asked to. You can go to camps, say like D3 camps, D2 camps, so you can kind of get into the college game. The problem with those is that you're traveling kind of a longer distance.
Mm.
They pay a little bit better, but it takes like your whole weekend out, because of the traveling and everything. It's kind of a grind, and you get that working experience, and then you go to a D1 camp, and then you try to get noticed, and you get tips or whatever, and until you get. But it's very political. It's very the selection process is kind of convoluted, but my brother's been doing the same thing for basketball, so he's been going to D1 camps. He right now he refs high school, but also D3 and D2 college. But he's been doing these D1 camps. They cost money. You got to drive to them, takes a weekend or fly to them even.
Mm.
And you just hope to catch up. You rub elbows with the people that make the decisions, and you take their notes, and you know you hope that you get your
So
change.
it's
That's
a
what it
butt
is.
kissing competition, is what you're saying.
I mean, it can be.
Because
I
I
mean,
would suck at that. I've never been good at kissing people's
well,
butts.
it's
That's
not
why I've never
necessarily that.
gotten anywhere.
It's like who you know. It's how you look. They want you to have an athletic build. Especially in basketball and football, they want you to be tall. So you don't want to look like a twerp around the players.
Oh,
Um, and then and this, I'm not trying to be controversial, but obviously diversity plays into it. They want to select diverse crews and everything like that too. So um, and in terms of not only race but gender and those sorts of things too now. So it's something where you kind of got all that kind of working either for you or against you, and how they make their decisions. So but there's no real formula. You can't just like I've done so many D2 games now, I can do D1. You have to be chosen, kind of hired into it. So but and then from there, that's where they pluck from the D1 ranks.
do you have to get LASIK eye surgery just to make sure you can see right?
Well, I think it helps to see. And wearing glasses as an official is not necessarily a great decision. You're just opening yourself up, even if you see really well with them and it makes sense. I think people would rather just not have good vision and not wear glasses as an official. You're just opening yourself up for that, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
I was
Gotcha.
really curious because you've been officiating for a while now, right?
Yeah, I think it's been 4 or 5 years now. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Well, cool.
We got a pretty good crew.
I didn't know how you got into it, but I knew you've been doing it for a little while, and I was like, oh, what is it like? Because I never officiated, but too emotional for that. I get in
Yeah.
arguments with the players or something like that, or
Yeah.
I would
conversation.
always call holding on like the guys that are supposed to be so good.
I'll be throwing
I'd
that
be like,
flag
you're
a
so
lot.
good. Why are you holding? I'll be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
nope. And then the guy who's supposed to suck, if he's holding, I'd be like, oop, didn't see that. Sorry.
There is a human element to it, right? And you can't really ignore it, but but and some of it's just smart officiating too. You want, like, you get to a point in the game is over. Like it's almost running clock time, right? And we basically are saying on our radios, like, hey, safety fouls only. We're not going to do things that's just going to prolong the game. Guys are just trying to get through this and not get hurt. And so some of that stuff just makes sense and it happens, but it's fun though. I mean, it's a different perspective. It gives you certainly a lot of respect for the officials on the field, because we get to see instant replays from multiple angles, like of exactly what happened, right? And they have a lot more officials. They have 7 for an NFL crew. We have 5 for high school, but it's something where you really have to stay in your own zone so you can kind of see what happens in your area and trust your crew that are gonna watch other things. So, because otherwise, if you just watch the ball the whole time, you're gonna miss a whole bunch of things that could be going on too. So, and it all moves really fast. So it's definitely gives you a lot of respect for the guys who do it. It's not easy. But it's good exercise. I have fun. It's outside. I'm with the same crew pretty much every week. So that makes it fun. And we'll go out and have a bite to eat afterwards too, and whatever. And so, and then you get a chance if you get to go to a state final game. And so the semifinals and state finals are at US Bank Stadium in Minnesota. So you get to officiate on that field if you make it there. So that stuff's kind of fun to look forward to.
Are you known as a flag happy official, or I mean, what do you? What's your MO? Like, what are the players when they see this? They're like, oh man,
Yeah, Mo. What's your
What-
mo?
what's the
Well,
deal? Yeah, what's
I
your Mo? What's your Mo?
I'm typically in the umpire position. So, and the nice thing is that they move the umpire behind the line of scrimmage like they did in college now. So it's a lot safer. So I don't get run over as much. But uh, people usually think I'm too skinny for an umpire. Everyone thinks the umpire, because the umpire is the one that spots the ball all the time, and they don't really do very much. But I like to be pretty active. I try to get to the ball and pile up people when there's pile ups and things like that. I get to catch the ball all night because they're always throwing the ball into me to spot it. So I kind of like that part. And I don't like, they always kind of say like it really has to be there. And I don't like to throw tic tacky things. Anything even remotely close to a safety issue, I'm going to throw it. But like last night, I called a game and that I called 2 chop blocks, and those are safety things. So chop blocks when one guy goes low, the other guy hits the same guy high. So 2 guys are hitting guy high low. So that's a chop block. That's illegal. You can actually go low at the snap in high school at the snap, and no one likes that, and no one knows that rule. Like they're chopping me. Like no, they're actually allowed to do that. But what they're not allowed to do is chop and then have their teammate hit them high. And both teams did it once, and neither one of them liked the call, but definitely was a call. And that's a safety thing. You don't want to get hurt that way. So I think I did that, a couple false starts, things like that. But
So what we're getting at is the guy who complains about David Bakhtiari holding on every single play.
Hold on.
If he was officiating the game with David Bakhtiari, he would actually never call a foul.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
That's
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 what I was gonna ask.
interesting.
If you were officiating a Packers game, David Bakhtiari is playing every snap. How many times would you throw the flag for holding?
probably almost every play. No,
Bull crap.
honestly, here's the thing. So it has to be restrictive, right? And so it's like last night, I thought about throwing a flag. A guy kind of pulled like at his collar, he had a grip here as he was trying to pass rush by him, but then he let go, and it was a tug. Like I saw it, didn't slow him down. He still pursued the ball carrier normally. So there's no restriction there. He didn't make him lose his balance. You see the pull and the tug of the jersey, but it didn't restrict the player. So, but when you got your arms outside of a guy, right? As soon as that guy wants to move somewhere else, you have to let go. Otherwise, you're restricting him illegally, right? You can block inside and all these things, but they're saying in the NFL now, you can do this. You can do this. Sorry, you can't see my hands. You can do this. You can do this bear hug thing. But as soon as that defender wants to like move backwards, move to the right, you have to let them go or you're restricting. So, but it seems like they don't really call that too much either. I've seen him called for it when like the run goes like around him and he doesn't let the defensive lineman go. They've called that, but it's harder to catch too because I just don't like that technique. I wish they wouldn't make that legal, but it's all about restriction when it comes to holding, and it has to be there. It has to affect the play. Otherwise, I'm not.
Okay, I changed my thing. You know how you wanted us to trade guys from the Packers to the Vikings? I would trade Billy Turner and David Bakhtiari to the Vikings so that Mo would have to watch David Bakhtiari every play and then say, oh my God, I can't believe that our guy is holding on every single play. I would call holding on our own guy every single play. That's what I want to do. I want to trade David Bakhtiari to the Vikings so Mo has to suffer through the pain of deciding whether, as a fan of the Vikings, I like David Bakhtiari because he's good at what he does, but what he does is illegal. That's what I want. That's what I want. Mo to have that that just eating at your brain. One half of your brain is like, you can't be doing that. The other half is Vikings. I'm a fan. The other half, no, he can't be doing that. Vikings. You would probably go insane, Mo.
That would be a conundrum, no doubt. That's a much better choice. That was smart.
I was gonna say your explanation of when officials are supposed to call holding made me feel way better about my blocking when I used to play. Because I used to watch plays and I'm like, oh man, I held a lot on that play, but now I didn't really restrict guys, so maybe it wasn't holding. And the other part I think is really interesting is, as you go through talking about looking at the official piece, kind of how that how that makes you watch football differently. And I think that's really interesting about watching a game. Like as an official, like you have to watch your area and what you're supposed to focus on. So you don't watch the game. It's
Right.
really kind of a weird experience from what a fan experiences. So I think that's
Right.
pretty wild too.
Yeah, especially coaches or players. Like, didn't you see this? I'm like, no, I was watching
Right.
this. That's this guy's call.
Yeah.
And I tell him that all the time. I'm like, coach, that's not my call. I'm watching this. So I'm watching blocks. I'm not going to call pass interference 20 yards down the field.
There you go.
So you gotta, and that's a problem. I think sometimes you get subs or people officiate and they really say stay in your area, stay in your zone, don't call a play. That's you want to help your team out. Like you can get in the radio. We have radios, which is nice. So we can kind of talk and say, hey, I saw this. Did you see this? Instead of throwing a flag for someone else. And that looks bad in your crew too, that why are you looking over there? You shouldn't be looking over there. So, and that's kind of tough to learn. And the toughest thing to learn is just to not always watch the ball. You watch the ball if it comes in your zone. But if it goes away from me, I'm actually watching the trail blocks, make sure no one's clipping anybody or any funny business and, trailing the play. So blocks in the back, things like that. So it's really just to learn, because sometimes I'll just say, I'll go right like, hey, was that an incomplete pass? Because I wasn't watching the ball. I was watching, the pass blocking. So, that's part is a little more of an adjustment just to not watch the ball sometimes.
Well, Mo, thanks for bringing that perspective to our show. There aren't that many shows out there that bring officials on and talk to officials about stuff. So that's what we get. It's
fun. It's funny. Like the coaches are super nice before the game because they always are. And then and then they thank you afterwards. But there's a shortage of officials. So if you guys ever want to get into it, they need them everywhere. And the problem is it pays horribly, but I just do it mostly for the exercise and camaraderie. Something to do to keep me out of trouble. And it's fun to kind of give back to the game a little bit that way too. But yeah, they need officials for like every sport everywhere. It's really bad. And parents should be nicer to officials.
That's true. Yep.
The kids are actually great about it. The players
are
really, really good. But it's the coaches.
The parents
all the grown-ups.
Right. The grown-ups are always the problem, man. It's always the way.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mo. Take care of yourself. Thanks for that perspective.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well,
all right. You guys all have
a
great weekend, everybody. Mo, we'll have to catch up with you soon. Ben said he needs to get that trophy to you yet. Mom was asking about the trophy, right?
That's right. I want that trophy.
All right. Got to get Mo's trophy. You got to hang out.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah, you showed me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We'll get Mo's trophy soon. You guys hang in there, play fantasy, watch your Packers, and
enjoy week 1.
Watch your Vikings.
Yeah. Football's back.
That's awesome.
Have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week, guys. We'll talk about the Packers victory next week.